Alright, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. We're back with live double cell action this evening as the league leaders Manchester City take on bottom place Leicester City. Sure to be a very exciting game of double cell football where City will be looking to return to winning ways. Meanwhile, Leicester City are looking to get a win after what has been a difficult start to the year, Harry, slipping from ninth in the table to bottom of the table in the last few weeks. Leicester now look like they're in a real spot of bother.
Yeah, pressure's on Rick Passmore and his side. It felt that with the recruitment that we saw from Liverpool, from West Ham, that this start of the year would be good for them, and that has happened. Both of them picking up some big results across the last couple of weeks, and Leicester have lost out. And you'd like to think that for them, after a tough game against Manchester United at home last weekend, it might get slightly easier, but no. Visiting the league leaders, visiting a Man City side that before last week had won 13 games on the spin, they'll be keen to bounce back tonight, City, and prove a point and to show that they are still going to go on and steamroll this title. But yeah, another massive test for Leicester. They are under pressure. They're on the bottom of the league, and it would take something special tonight for them to end the evening any higher. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. They're not in a very good run of form at all. Leicester are going to need something incredible today to stop this Man City side that, although they were beaten by Arsenal last weekend, still look heads on to win the league.
Yeah, I mean, quite literally, the side in the worst form, the only, the bottom of the form table at the moment. In the last 6 games, only 1 win, 5 losses. London City, the closer to them, with just 4 points, as Eda Maestro taking the helm there. As Manchester City, a bit of a mess last weekend against Arsenal, but it's a very difficult opponent, opponent this evening. Can Leicester pose any sort of threat, as we saw of Arsenal? Can they learn from that blueprint, or are City simply just too strong at the moment?
I think that actually, if you're Rick Passmore, the City losing last week, I think hurts Leicester more than it would help them. If City were, had won last week, they're cruising the league, maybe there's a chance they lose a bit of concentration and the errors in the games like the London City one go a bit unnoticed. But I think the fact that City did lose to Arsenal last weekend will come as a bit of a wake-up call to Andre Jeglertz and his side, and I'd expect City to want to bounce back in style, and I expect to see a reaction from the table toppers at the moment, which is actually not going to play into Leicester's hands if City do come out with a vengeance to try and show to everyone that they still are the best side in the league at the moment. So I think that'll be a source of frustration for Rick Passmore, but as you say, maybe it does show that there are some weaknesses they can look to exploit. Couple of changes as well for Passmore and his side, so maybe they can get something from tonight. But City, they'll be keen to bounce back from last week and to show that was just a blip and that there is no chance of them slipping up the table.
I mean, there's not really a nicer way to rebound from a difficult result than a Leicester City side who are low on confidence, whose performances haven't really been where we would have expected or wanted to see them this season. It does feel like a great chance for Man City to really lay Leicester to the sword, remind us all why they are top of the league and that they absolutely deserve to be there. Let's kick off then with the lineups for this game. We are at the Joey Stadium in Manchester, so we'll kick off with the Manchester City lineup. A 4-2-3-1 for Manchester City, and only one change from what has been their strongest lineup this season. In goal, Ayaki Yamashita keeps her place, and City will probably try and run her into the ground the next few weeks. Obviously, Kiara Keating will play their double cell fixtures in March, as Ayaki Yamashita has been called up by Japan today for the Asian Cup. In the back four, Kasparov, Rose, Knack and Greenwood. A midfield pivot as Sam Coffey comes in for her first start for Manchester City alongside Yui Hasegawa. On one wing it's Carolyn, on the other Lauren Hemp. Miedemar, slight doubts around her fitness, but she does start this game in the 10 and leading the line. It's double cell top goal scorer, double anyone else in the league this season, Khadija Shaw. Strong team for Manchester City then. Coffey coming in for her first start. What do you make of that?
Yeah, of course, it's brilliant for Manchester City. It's the moment, it's the game that City fans have all been waiting for. Sam Coffey, we've seen her have cameos from the bench, but in to start tonight, it'll be very exciting, I'm sure, for those of a City persuasion. And it makes sense from Jeglertz, of course. Coffey joining when the NWSL was in their off-season, so her fitness wasn't fully there. She had a couple of substitute appearances, but tonight is a good opportunity against a much weaker opposition to hand her first start. She'll be given time. She's had a couple of games to adjust now, and I'd expect her to come into this game and show the main reason why Manchester City signed a top player. Blinkilde-Brown, I thought, really struggled last weekend against Arsenal. So it makes perfect sense for Coffey to come in for this one. And yeah, a big moment for Man City as the rest of the side looks brilliant, but Sam Coffey now in that pivot, it just looks even stronger.
Yeah, indeed. Ridiculously good team for Manchester City. Thank you, everyone, by the way, that's getting involved in the live chat. We will get to your comments in just a moment. Let's begin, though. Let's continue with the lineups. The visitors today, Leicester City, going for what looks like a 5-2-3 or 5-4-1. In goal, Olivia Clark keeps her place with Janina Leipzig still out injured. A back five of Sarah Mayling, Keys, Swaby, Tebow and Neville. Ale, the only player dropping out of the team from their loss to United last weekend. In midfield, Olivia McLaughlin comes back into the side alongside Emily Van Egmond. Harry's shocked by that. On one wing, it seems to be Mouchon. On the other, Alicia Lehmann. And leading the line, Shannon O'Brien. Quite an interesting attack then. They've got two strikers on there. They've got Alicia Lehmann, who's traditionally a winger. How do we think this is going to look then? Will Lehmann be in a bit more of a central role? Will Mouchon be playing a little bit wider? How are we expecting this to function in attack?
I think it's going to be one of those where we're going to have to wait and see what it looks like at kickoff, because you've got three players in that front line that can all play up, mainly want to play up front and play through the middle, but all can do a decent job out wide. I'd expect it to be O'Brien probably through the middle, but I don't think that will give Leicester the transitional threat they want. So it would be intriguing to see what Rick Passmore chooses to do. As I say, all three of Mouchon, O'Brien and Lehmann are very capable of leading the line. So it'll be interesting to see who he's decided to put as the number 9. But I like the shift back to a defensive system for Leicester. I thought last week against Manchester United, Rick Passmore they started a bit with a 4-back at the start of the game, and they did shift it eventually, but they started with a 4-back, tried to play football against Man United, and it just did not work, and it wouldn't work tonight. We know how good City are out of possession. So I think that it makes sense to go to the more defensive system, look to be direct tonight, look to catch City out in transition, and then maybe they can hurt them that way. But yeah, I think it's a positive change from Rick Passmore. Couple of changes in there. I like to see those as well. T-Bow is going to be a big boost. I think that across the board, Mouchon again back into start is another really bright one. So yeah, I think that although it's going to be difficult tonight for Leicester, I think I look at the starting 11 and it looks a bit more positive than maybe it has in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm going to have to disagree slightly, because I think it probably is the same system they use against Manchester United. In that game, it was a very similar lineup with the back five, and in defence they defended in a 5, in a sort of 5-4-1, but actually in build-up they were looking to play that 4-back, and as you rightly say, that was a little bit confusing. I think they're probably going for the same thing today. I think Mayling will be used to hold the width on the right-hand side, Lehmann pulling wide on the left. I think when they've got the ball, it'll probably look more like a 4-2-4 or 4-4-2, something along those lines. I think that makes sense with the personnel they've got available. Then when they don't have the ball, I think we'll see Mouchon, tracking the left back. Tracking to the left-hand side or the right-hand side of Leicester's team. Lehmann will track back and they'll drop into sort of a 5-4-1. I don't think it was necessarily them trying to build out from the back, which was such a problem, because I don't mind what they're trying to do. I just think you're shifting too many players too quickly, and actually Leicester end up getting caught in transition, which was such an odd situation. But there were so many times, and it may be slightly different today, but there were so many times where United were doubling up on the left-hand side. Now, where it may be different is City don't often attack on the left. City often look to attack on the right with Caspray overlapping, and they look to double up on that side. So I think it could be slightly different for Leicester today. But if they can give Greenwood a little bit more licence to get forward, or Hemp is holding the width and Miedemar is supporting and Hasegawa is supporting, then I think they could expose those same issues. If they're better in transition, I think that Leicester will be very difficult to break down today. But City have the quality to unpick them, really. It's just going to be interesting to see what Leicester are doing. Nigel says, I'm not looking forward to this disgusting 5-4-1 deep block. Well, that's what we saw against United. As soon as Leicester went down a goal, they pretty much dropped onto their goal line. And you'd think they may start that way against City tonight, Harry.
Yeah, I think so. It makes the most sense for Leicester, because at the end of the day, yes, they need points, but it's one of those where goal difference is also massive. And Leicester would rather sit deep and lose a game 1-0 than try and be positive and lose 3-0, because that hurts them a lot more, even though they try to be on the front foot. So yeah, it's going to make sense. We know the firepower City have got in that front line. Leicester have just got to try and frustrate them tonight, make it difficult, but it is tough. I think it's City and one of the toughest teams to play that low block against, because you've got Khadija Shaw in there, who's such a handful. Miedemar as well as a bit of a box crasher in the 10. You've got players that can match the physicality in central areas, and it just makes it difficult, because if all it takes is someone like a Kasperai or a Lauren Hemp to put a brilliant ball in, it puts it on Khadija Shaw's head and suddenly you're 1-0 down despite how deep you're sitting. So it's going to be difficult for Leicester tonight. But yeah, it's going to be frustrating football. It's going to be... it shouldn't be too slow, because when they have the ball, as you say, they're going to want to shift. They're going to want to transition and want to play quickly. So there should be a decent pace to the game. But City, for Leicester will hope that City find it difficult tonight. And that, again, for Leicester, they've got to try and make it through as much of the game as possible while keeping the score at 0-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, welcome to the stream. So it's my birthday. Happy birthday and welcome to the stream. Jeremy saying, watching the match but listening to your commentary. That's fantastic. Thank you for tuning in, Jeremy. And Naya says, hopefully a comfortable win for us, because some people are panicking after last week for some reason. We saw the Opta stats there from Sky on the probability of winning the division this season. Manchester City sits at 94%. Very little chance they don't win the league, statistically, Harry. Is there any justification for City fans feeling a bit of trepidation? I mean, I think it's fairly natural that they will. We're seeing it with Arsenal in the men's game, and there is definitely more merit there because they are going to throw it away. But in the WSL, City do look incredibly comfortable. Is there any merit to that trepidation?
I don't think so. Of course, there's always going to be that, as you say, when City have, not only has it been a while since City won the league, but the fact they're in a similar position. Granted, it wasn't as good under Gareth Taylor, but they were in a similar position 2 years ago, and they did throw that away, and Chelsea won the league on goal difference. But as I say, it's a similar situation, but the margin is bigger than it was under Gareth Taylor, and it's also still in Man City's hands. You know, City have still got to play United, who are in second. United have still got to play Chelsea and Arsenal, so they've all got to take points off each other. I don't think there's any reason for City fans to panic. I think the gap is too large now. They're still playing decently enough football, even if they are to lose that game to Man United. As long as they get results against sides like Leicester, they'll be absolutely fine, and it won't matter what happens in any of the other big games. So, yeah, I don't think there's no reason for City fans to start worrying. Of course, there's always going to be that kind of fear, because, as I say, they have been in a situation and messed it up, and when it has been a while since you've won a league, every slight drop of points is always going to be a bit of a panic. But yeah, they're in the prime position that I think that they look way too comfortable, bar a major mishap from Jeglertz and his side. They're in a comfortable position.
Unless City go into the penultimate game week only 3 points ahead of Chelsea, I think they'll be fine. I mean, it's PTSD at the moment. You're thinking back to that season where obviously Blackstenia scores that brace in the penultimate game week and Chelsea turn the title around out of absolutely nowhere. Now, unless Martha Thomas bags a brace on the 3rd of May and City are then out of time, or then suddenly they slip up, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. Yeah, I think City are in such a comfortable position. I think their performances this season have merited that position in the table. Yes, the result against Arsenal last weekend, the performance does raise some questions, but I think they are questions that I'll be asking more next season at this rate than the end of this season. I think they've proven this campaign that they're just so strong that they'll continue to steamroll these sides. I mean, I was mentioning this earlier before stream about how you look at that lineup today and you think about some of the other teams around them, and they're all rotating because they've got European football. City can just play that strongest 11 every week. And I mean, I know City fans will be gutted they're out of the League Cup, because getting through into that final would have been a great opportunity to get another trophy. But actually, it takes away any distractions now, really. Yeah. Outside of the FA Cup, City can just rotate. And those FA Cup games come at the weekends. So City are in a fantastic position now. They can just sort of rotate through. They don't even need to rotate. Sorry, they can just steamroll through the rest of this season and get the title over the line. That's all they're waiting for now. March will be a big test, but yes, Hasegawa, Fujino, Yamashita, all big losses. Mary Fowler as well, if she's fit to go to the Asian Cup. But I think they've got the quality now, and the fact that their run in March is Aston Villa, Tottenham and Manchester United. But that United game, they should have some players back for, depending on obviously how far teams go. But since you're in such a comfortable position now, I just can't see them having any more issues this season. Maybe they drop points to United, maybe even they drop points to Tottenham. Even still, they'd win the league by canter. So they're in such a comfortable spot now.
I think it's something like 4 wins. All they need is 4 wins, and they'll be absolutely fine. I think they are in a very decent position. I don't think they'll be too worried about that at all. As you say, if they could drop points to those bigger sides, but as long as they beat the smaller sides, they'll be absolutely fine.
I believe we may have a delay to kickoff here as well. Some sort of lighting issue at the Joey Stadium. Does look like kickoff will be delayed. So we're going to have to wait and see when the game will get underway. But that does give us some time to talk to you guys in the live chat. That's why we haven't panned over yet to doing our predictions. But once the players are on the field, we will get to those. Let's go to the live chat then with a few of your thoughts. Thebe saying, evening guys, wondering your thoughts on no Clinton starting, even in a game like this where stakes are so low. Interesting, given there's lots of competition in the midfield. I think this was the kind of opportunity with Miedemar potentially feeling a knock after that Arsenal game, and I thought our performance was actually quite poor. But they've got Sheffield United next weekend, and Clinton will probably start that game in midfield. It's a bit difficult because you've got Lohman, you've got Clinton, you want to get them involved. But I think if you can just get the title done, play your strongest 11 until the title is won, those last 3 games, then you can start to rotate and think about next season. Clinton and Lohman, as fantastic as signings, or I think good signings as they are going to be more important next season. When we come round to that Champions League rotation, when City are obviously in 3 different competitions and they'll be wanting to compete on the sharp end of all 3 of them, that's when those players are going to become more important, I feel, because that's when that rotation will be necessary, and City then will likely bring those players into the fold. I think Clinton's really well suited though to that Miedemar role, so I think that's going to be quite a nice fit there. So yeah, I don't think it's too bad to not see her tonight, but it did feel like a good opportunity to bring her into the side. Kyle asking you drinking wine, Harry. It feels like we get asked this question on every stream. Do you want to clear up what you drink on stream?
That is just some blackcurrant squash. Definitely not wine.
Okay, you made it sound like it's wine.
Oh yeah, no.
That's exactly what someone would say. He's trying to cover up the fact that they are drinking wine on stream. Phil, welcome to the stream. Says, no idea, but I have a feeling that Leicester will nick this. Arsenal fans, honestly, in the live chat, being delusional once again, Harry. Do you think there's any chance Leicester can nick this?
Of course, there's always a chance in football that anything can happen, but I just don't.
Not in the Liga F.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, I just don't see it happening tonight. As you say, City, I think that although that Arsenal, we spoke about a moment ago, but although that Arsenal loss may be worrying City fans, I think it will actually work in their favour because it might just be that kick up the rear that the side needs to go, hang on a minute, yes, we're clear, but this title is not done yet. We need to make sure we get the job done. So, as I say, I think that, yes, they lost last week, but I don't see that affecting them this week. Leicester... Yeah, they just don't look. If Leicester were in good, even if Leicester were in good form, I still think it'd be difficult. But the fact they're sat rooted to the bottom of the table and they're on the worst run of form out of any team in the division, I just don't see it happening tonight. But football's a funny game sometimes. Obviously, the return of Mouchon will be something exciting for Leicester fans, and they'll be hoping that she can look to make things happen. And I think that Leicester will be looking for Leicester now. Of course, it's about points and getting results, but it's also about performances. If they can turn up tonight and give City a game, they can take positives from tonight to push into those other games. But for Leicester, if they turn up and get rolled over tonight, that's a really poor showing. So I don't see a world where they win, but I do think they're capable of taking the game to City.
Yeah, Phil replies, nothing to do with Arsenal. I'm convinced we'll drop more points before the season ends. Sure, Phil. Nothing to do with Arsenal. But no, I think if it was someone like a West Ham tonight who've been in good form and desperately need the points, if it's someone like a Liverpool who have been really good coming forwards and could perhaps, I think, offer some threat against City's high line, I would then I think there's more merit to that argument that maybe City could be a little bit surprised here. I just think Leicester, they've been so lacklustre this season that I can't see them producing anything particularly impressive tonight. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll surprise me. I said last week I thought City would steamroll Arsenal. That didn't happen. I think I'm going to predict tonight City will steamroll Leicester. Maybe I was similarly wrong. I just think at home, at the Joey, against a team who have been so poor this season, who don't really have... Even if there's like a Jutta Rantala in this Leicester team, maybe I go, well, maybe she comes up with something and Leicester just sit on their goal line and see this game out. But I don't see who comes up with that moment of magic. I don't see them being defensively disciplined enough to see out a result.
Yeah, as you say, I think that it's one of those where... There's been I thought they were better at it in the United game, but United were slow. But in terms of Leicester, they seem to, when they concede one, they try and sit in, try and preserve, but it's just not enough. And I think that there's been times this season where they've ended up going on to concede 2 or 3, and it's been a bit of a difficult one. But tonight, maybe it can, they can turn it around. Maybe this is the kind of game they need to really kickstart their season. I doubt it, but football's a funny game sometimes. But yeah, but Man City, it's just about getting the job done. Leicester, as you say, just defensively, they haven't been up to standard, and I think against the City attack, I think I don't see it changing tonight.
Well, that is what we like to see. It is light shining on the Joey Stadium. I like how Sky had no idea what to do there, so just cut to lots of ads. But now we do have lights in the Joey Stadium. Kickoff still delayed. We would expect an announcement very shortly, though, as to when the game will get underway. Already a 5-minute delay to the start of the match. Shadow says, "Good morning, lads. Excited to see Sam Coffey start this one." Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what that midfield looks like. I think they played a lot better in the second half against Arsenal, where I think Coffey gave them a little bit more control in there, gave them a bit of presence. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue today. I think, starting Blinkholder wouldn't have been a problem against Leicester. But I think what we're going to see from Coffey is an even greater ability to play through the press if needed. I mean, Leicester might just not press. We saw that against Manchester United. They just dropped off. Yeah. So maybe it's not the game for Coffey, but I still think she's going to have a huge impact. I still think that she's a fantastic signing. I think especially with looking at next season and City want to compete with the best of the best, bringing in a world-class defence midfielder alongside an already world-class defence midfielder in Yui Hasegawa, it's one of the best midfielders in Europe. And that is something that I think City will be incredibly excited about. I think City fans should be incredibly excited about when we're thinking of next season. We're thinking about how that City team could look as they kick on from this title. I mean, we're talking about the season as it's done, and it's not done yet, but it's certainly very close now for Manchester City. First sets of players then out onto the field. So let's dive into predictions ahead of this one. If you're watching along to the show, get involved in the live chat with your scoreline predictions. We're going to start here in the studio, though, and as always, Harry, you can get us started. What is your prediction as Manchester City host Leicester City?
I'm going to back the league leaders in this one. I think they would have too much quality for this Leicester side, and it'll be another disappointing weekend for Rick Passmore and his team. I will say Manchester City to come through with a 3-0 victory. I think it'll be 2 goals from Khadija Shaw in the first half, and then a goal in the second half through Lauren Hemp. 3-0 victory for City. Get the title back on the road, and as I say, another difficult game for Leicester.
Yeah, fair enough. That's boring. You've become boring. There was an age where you'd have said 1-0 Leicester. Maybe it's because you're dressing as an intern lawyer now. You're being too sensible. But my prediction, I'm going to say, I think Man City will win this more comfortably than that. I'm going to say Manchester City 5, Leicester 1. I'm going to back Leicester to get a goal on the break for the sole reason of the fact that I've used the wall in aerial fantasy, and there's no way that goes well for me this week. So I think Leicester will get a goal on the break. I'm going to say 5-1 Manchester City, though. I'm going to say a brace from Rebecca Knack. She's disappointing me by the fact she's not scoring every week at the moment, because that is, that's the ability she's got on corners. I think we're going to see a goal for Khadija Shaw. I'm going to say a goal from Viviana Miedemar, and I'll say a goal from Kirsten Kasper. I'm making sure I'm doing my maths correctly there. And for Leicester, I think the goal on the break will come from Noemi Mouchon. I just think if they can get her in behind, similar to how Arsenal exploited that space behind Nat Smith, if they can get Mouchon running off the shoulder, I think that gives them the best chance of trying to get something from this game. Few predictions rolling into the live chat. H asking first, who did you captain on fantasy? I went Kasperai. I went for Rebecca Knack because she is visionary, and I think that City should keep a clean sheet today, and Knack could score. Who did you captain?
I went Khadija Shaw, obviously.
So boring, but the right choice. Carl says 3-0 City. Phil says 1-0 Leicester with a Williams header off the bench. Fair enough, Phil. Jeremy going 4-1 City. And Keaton going 1-0 Leicester as well. So, and Ahmed going for a 1-1 draw. So a range of predictions, most though backing Manchester City, along with the 76% in the poll, 18% backing Leicester City, and 6% going for a draw. So City, the strong favourites for this one. Leicester looking to upset what is a very premature title party, very early title party. But City very much on their way to claiming the WSL crown this season. Healthy lead at the top of the WSL. If they can win tonight, they extend that from 8 points to 11. Now, granted, United, Chelsea and Arsenal would all have a game in hand to play on Sunday, but it would strengthen City's position momentarily. And it will be well, City, Andre Jeglertz looking on. I think he'll be incredibly proud of what he's managed to achieve in his first season at the club. Freya saying 7-0 Manchester City, so definitely going for the biggest win in the live chat. Welcome to the stream, Freya. As for Rick Passmore, well, he started life quite positively at Leicester City, picking up some, well, very necessary results, but performances haven't really been there, and City's taken charge on a permanent basis. They've not really claimed enough points, and they sit bottom of the league. Can they do something about that this evening? It's going to be a long shot, but you never know. Manchester City to get us started here at the Joey Stadium. Viviana Miedemar from the middle on this very cold Friday night. Waiting for the referee's whistle. Knocks it back. We're underway for the first game of game week 16 in the WSL. It's Manchester City, the league leaders, taking on Leicester City, bottom of the league. Here is Sam Coffey under pressure early on. Plays through it well. Great dribble. The pass, though, to the right-hand side. Poked, and it's picked off by a Leicester player. O'Brien trying to progress it up the line. One back by Carolyn, who can't hold on to it. And here's Alicia Lehman now as Leicester turn over the ball. Nice turn there from Lehman. Gets away from Coffey. Miedemar forcing her backwards, though. Now Tebow. Across to Swaby. So we're seeing Leicester go for that 4-4-2 in possession again then. That's interesting to see from the off, Harry.
It is very interesting to see. I think that, again, it's bold from Rick Passmore. I get that he wants his side to play more positively, and I understand that. And we did criticise him at the start of the season for becoming Rick Pass less because his side really didn't try and play pretty football. But I think the problem is he's gone about that by doing it against the two Manchester clubs, which feels like a really bad time to try and implement a more positive style. Of course, there's nothing, there's no such thing as an easy run in the WSL, but you feel like they could have trialled this more positive setup against some weaker opposition to give them more of an accurate representation of what they are actually capable of.
I'm sticking by the Rick Pass less tagline. They have averaged 37% possession this season, 5% less than any other team in the league. Up against Man City, they have the fourth highest average possession at 55.6%. So we'd expect City to have a lot more of the ball. But yeah, Leicester have looked to try and play a bit more what we'd call football in the last few weeks. Trying to play out from the back hasn't necessarily worked out just yet. Rebecca Knapp carrying it forwards into Lauren Hemp now, looking to turn out to the left-hand side. Greenwood holding the width. Back into Lauren Hemp. And now Rebecca Knapp, who's under pressure from Noemi Mouchon. Gets it back to Yamashita, and City now will switch from left to right. Rose back along the back line into Rebecca Knapp, inside to Sam Coffey, who splits the centre halves. Choosing a safe pass forwards into Hasegawa. Did have a glance up there at the roaming run of Kirsten Kasparai. Hemp going down the line. Greenwood now in attacking position, looking to find Viviana Miedemar with the pass in behind. Sari Keys on hand, though, to sweep up and knock it out of play.
Yeah, well defended by Keys, followed the run of Miedemar well, but City already looking to be positive, progressing down that left.
Greenwood with the throw in then on the far side. Shaw dropping in to receive, goes to Miedemar instead, who will turn out. And now back to Rebecca Knapp. Here's Rose. Coffey. Spreading it wide. Kasparai. Carries the ball forwards. Now into Carolyn, who holds the width. Can she keep it in play? Not quite. And that does roll out for a Leicester throw-in. It looks like City have actually shifted their tactics slightly this evening to exploit that Leicester weakness. Kasparai's tucking into that back three. And we're seeing Greenwood overlapping, which isn't something we're necessarily used to seeing from Alex Greenwood. I'm a little surprised Uahabi hasn't come in to fulfill that role, but they're looking to target that weakness that I mentioned in the build-up, the weakness that we saw against Manchester United, where Leicester allowed Sandberg and Mallard in that game to dominate, really. It looks like City are trying to overload the same flank.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think that they want to try and, when you've got to try and find easier ways to break down these kind of sides like Leicester, especially when they are going to sit deep. So trying to change things up, trying to target their weaknesses is the right way to go about it.
Rose into Coffey under pressure. Back to Jade Rose. Great pressure here from Leicester City. Rose, though, selling the dummy and able now to play out. That's a good ball towards Miedemar. Picked off in midfield by the aggressive Swaby. Given away possession there by McLaughlin. Hemp into Greenwood, who's overlapping here. Looking for that forward pass. Slips Shaw in behind. Can she find the cutback? Drills it across the box. Blocked by Sari Keys. City corner to follow.
Yeah, again, City looking dangerous down that left-hand side, and you feel that at this rate, it's going to be a very long evening for Sari Keys, who does well to get back in. Shaw does her initially, but gets across, makes the challenge, and puts the ball out for a corner.
I mean, it's just elite movement, isn't it, from Khadija Shaw, a little wide of the goal, was looking for that cutback and did have options in the box. Good defending, though, from Sari Keys to deal with the imminent threat. Corner now for Manchester City. Who can they pick out? It's Kirsten Kasperai over this. And City, we know they can really flex their muscles on set pieces. They've got that height advantage. Have they got the routine to match? Ball floated in towards the penalty spot. Headed away well as Swaby attacks it. Coffey lifting it out gracefully to the right, to the left-hand side. Kasperai into Greenwood. Makes a good run off the ball. Clipping it towards the back post. And Knack there with an audacious attempt. Unable, though, to turn it goalwards. Going for that acrobatic effort. Carolyn now being pressed by Ash Neville. And does have to go all the way back to Ayaka Yamashita. Who now finds Coffey. Phil says if Leicester are going to throw people forwards like that, I'm changing my prediction. Yeah, not quite as confident anymore in Leicester is Phil. And Carly welcomes the stream of Fox's fans. There's 1-0 to Leicester for me, followed by an array of Leicester City emojis. Greenwood's inside to Lauren Hemp. City probing once again. Options in front of her. Looking to slip Shaw in behind. That, though, will run through to Olivia Clark. And no threats on that occasion from Manchester City.
Yeah, Leicester are doing okay, but Shaw looks lively. Looks really up for it tonight, Khadija Shaw.
When isn't she? 14 goals this season in 15 matches. No other player has more than 7.
That is a ridiculous record, but yeah, it looks sharp once again. And is already trying to get in behind. She's on the shoulder, in between Swaby and Keys, and that's the gap she's going to be looking to get into all night.
Greenwood, great pass inside to Viviana Miedemar, who takes it under her control well. Options to the left and right. Miedemar may go alone here. Probably the wrong choice as Yuli Tebow out to close down the danger. Coffey finds Kasperai in the wide space. Needs support here. Plays it into Carolyn, who looks to spin Ash Neville. And that's great defending from Ash Neville. Not only stopping Carolyn in her tracks, but forcing her off the pitch as well. Throw in for Leicester on this near side. Neville will drop the ball and allow Tebas to take it. Now, we saw this from Leicester in the game against Manchester United, bringing the wide centre-half forward to take the throw-in, trying to give them a little bit more of a numbers advantage down the line. And it did work with, well, in minimal effect, but it did seem effective. That one, a bit of a weird call there from the referee, giving us a City throw.
Yeah, a bit unlucky there, because as you say, speaking of those throws, that worked wonders. Tebow launched it long, Neville sells the dummy. Mouchon and O'Brien work well together to win another throw. Unfortunate there, they didn't get the decision.
Knack, nowhere to go there, forced backwards. Yamashita into Jade Rose. City trying to progress the ball. Knack looking to the left-hand side. Finds Hemp now on the touchline. As City trying to stretch this Leicester team. Hemp up against Lehman. Great defending there from Alicia Lehman, who stands her up well. Knack slips it inside to the movement of Hemp. One back in there well by Mailing. And Leicester trying to progress. Mouchon. Great control in there from the forward. Knocks it round the corner. Lehman gives up on that a little early, but it was bouncing away from her with pace.
Yeah, slightly overhit from Mouchon, but I think that having Noé Mouchon back for Leicester will be a big positive for the fans. Feels like she's never really been able to get going since she joined, with the array of injuries that she's picked up over the last year or so. But hopefully for her sake, she can get a good run of games going in this Leicester team.
Greenwood enjoying this attacking role, the freedom to get forwards in this game. Unable there to find a teammate, though. The ball going the other way, and Leicester unable to keep it in play. Throw in for Manchester City on the far side again. Greenwood into Khadija Shaw, who's dropped into midfield here to receive the ball. Coffey now feeding the right-hand side. Kasperai happy to carry this ball forwards. Now Carolyn on the touchline. Neville closed her down again. And really smart defending again from Neville, using her experience up against Carolyn. I think this is something we saw in the Arsenal game. That's a poor pass from Neville. Picked off by Coffey. Now Hasegawa knocks it wide for Carolyn, and there's too much on that. I think this is something we saw in the Arsenal game, and something that I think Chelsea were very frustrated they allowed to expose them so easily, is that Carolyn's is great at one very specific thing, and that is those runs in behind. She's incredibly quick, very composed in front of goal. But if you can really limit her into that wide space, if she finds it very difficult to take players on, and Neville at the moment is just using her experience to stand her up and try and chaperone her towards the line.
Yeah, it's really good from Ash Neville, as you say. I think that is it's one of those where you look at that battle and think that potentially Caroline could use that pace and that ability to just blast past her. But with the expertise that Neville has, if Neville can play like she has in his first 9 minutes for the rest of the game, then Caroline might have a sniff tonight.
Kasperai back into Coffee, who looks there to burst past O'Brien, and O'Brien pulling her down, and she may go into the book for that one.
Needless, really needless that from O'Brien. Coffee's not really going anywhere. I mean, I know she's blast past her, but with how deep Leicester are, there's plenty of players that can then deal with her. You've got to pass her on there, bit of communication.
Yeah, O'Brien escaping a caution on this occasion, but City with a free kick in a really good area here. And it's Alex Greenwood over this, who can she pick out in the box. And again, we know City have threats from set pieces. Can they make it show? Alex Greenwood delivers it flat towards the back post. Shaw unmarked. Cushions the header down. Miedemar trying to open the space for the shot. Blocked well and poked away. And now McLaughlin into Lehman, but it's just in front of Alicia Lehman. Can't quite get it under her control. Hasegawa, great turn to get away from Ash Neville. Tried to play it across the box, and that's really good defending. I think it was Emily Van Egmond who got back in there.
What a let-off for Leicester. Not many times in life do you let Khadija Shaw have a free header in the penalty area and get away with it.
No. Kasperai pressed out of play by Olivia McLaughlin, who's had a lively start in this game. Leicester's midfield has just had that intensity at the moment to cause issues for Manchester City. Ball cleared away. Knack now recovering the ball. Coffee. Out to the right-hand side. Kasperai dispossessed by Neville. And Mouchon now into Neville. And these two can combine on the left-hand side. Neville holds it up well. Shift it inside. McLaughlin. Nowhere to go there to progress the ball. Goes back to Swaby into McLaughlin, who's under pressure. Into Keys. Wide now with Mailing. Van Egmond round the corner. This is lovely football, and they've got it in behind here. And an opportunity as O'Brien tries to get away from Knack. Brilliant tackle from Rebecca Knack. Wins the ball cleanly and stops the counter charge.
Yeah, really nice move from Leicester City. Exactly what Rick Passmore wants to see his side do more of. Great interception from Knack. Times it well. Could have easily got that wrong and brought down O'Brien. But yeah, lovely move there from Leicester. 4 or 5 passes and they'd shifted the ball quickly. It's exactly what they need to do against City. Look to move it fast, get on the break.
I mean, showing there they can play football.
Yeah.
It's just whether they can do that kind of move consistently. But opening up there some of City's weaknesses. Mouchon. Dispossessed by Hemp, and City looking to come forwards now. Hemp driving through the heart of the team. A 2-on-2 now. She gets away from McLaughlin. Slips it through to Khadija Shaw, who cuts onto her stronger right foot. Takes aim. And that's a great save from Clark. Gets down to the near post and denies Shaw well.
Yeah, again, really good break from City. Leicester get caught out of the pitch, and Mouchon is too lazy, too relaxed there. Just casually trying to dribble the ball past Lauren Hemp. Never going to happen. Hemp with the pace breaks away. Not a bad ball into Shaw, who does well to cut it back onto that right foot. Looking for that near post. It struck well, and a good save from Clark to put it out for a corner. But showing, City there showing exactly what Leicester have got to be careful of if they do try and be a bit too positive in this game.
It's an important save for Clark. I think a player who has struggled with confidence at times this season, she can get the basics right early on, though. It can give her a platform from which to perform in this game. Ball into the box, looked like a handball from Knack. Shaw brought down, and they have awarded a free kick there for that initial handball from Rebecca Knack.
Yeah, good spot in there by the referee. Ball comes in. Knack just doesn't read the bounce and hits her at her right hand. And a bit of a wasted corner from Man City, who had initially gone short and then actually caught Leicester out. And it wasn't a bad ball in from Hemp, so they were disappointed they couldn't make more of it. But 13 minutes played and a good start by both sides in this one. I think that, of course, City have reacted well and are playing some decent stuff. It's just not coming together in the final third at the moment. And Leicester, well, they're digging in and they're putting on a spirited performance at the moment.
It's one of those where it's much similar to last week against United, where while it feels like an even game, there isn't that substance for Leicester. They're yet to have a shot.
Yes.
They're yet to create really a chance to shoot, and they've had just 26% of the ball. So yeah, there's definitely positive glimpses. Don't get me wrong, and they've done well to shut out City so far. But the problem is all of this performance doesn't really materialise into results because they're not finding goals. They're not getting shots away with enough consistency.
I have to say that possession really caught me out. I wouldn't have said that the possession was that low. But yeah, I suppose City have enjoyed quite a lot of the ball.
Mailing inside now to Van Egmond. T-Bow shifts it wide to Neville, who looks to go down the line, and O'Brien here running in behind, and this is a nice direct move from Leicester. Can O'Brien fashion a ball into the box? Kasperai squares her up nicely. Back to Neville, who delivers it low. Mouchon brings it under control, clips it inside, poked onto Lehmann, in a chance to score, bounces across the goal line. And Alicia Lehmann, how is that not in the back of the net? And the offside flag up against Shannon O'Brien.
What a chance for Leicester, a brilliant move. Great ball in for Neville. Mouchon round the corner, flicked on brilliantly by Van Egmond and Alicia Lehmann. It's hit well. Goes across the goalkeeper, looking for the far corner. Hits the foot of the post and runs across the whole goal line. That's unlucky for Leicester. Really good move. Best move I think I've seen Leicester have in 2-3 games.
Seasons. That's a fantastic move. That's two really well executed passing moves. They're moving the ball quickly. They're being direct tonight. And that's exactly how you can get in behind against Manchester City. And that's a prime example of where the fortune is just going in one team's favour.
Yeah.
City are a side who are on top of their game right now, and you do just tend to get the luck of the green in those kind of situations. Leicester are a side down on their luck, and how on earth does that not go in?
Yeah.
Hits the post and trickles along the goal line.
City just caught flat-footed, really. 2-3 quick passes from Leicester, and City just did not react. And Lehmann, with a glorious chance to get her first Leicester goal, but really good from the travelling side. Ash Neville as well, by the way. The ball into Mouchon's feet was perfect, and it's been a brilliant 16 minutes from Ash Neville.
It was so easy for her there to just swing that into the box. And the amount of times I've watched Neville swing balls into the box, and it's either too high, over hit, or it doesn't even, it goes over the bar. But that was a smart play. You're not going to win aerial duel tonight against Rebecca Knack. It's just not happening. The smarter play to deliver it into feet, and it created that opportunity. City now looking, though, to find a goal. Hemp shifts to the edge of the box. Coffey looking to find her goal. First goal in City Blue. That's blocked, though, by the crowd of bodies. And Van Egmond knocking it down the line. So that's out for a Manchester City throw-in on the far side. But yeah, positive first 17 minutes for Leicester City. You can make a strong argument they should be in the lead. Unlucky not to score. Hemp forced backwards in the field. Trying to, I think, create a little bit of space for City to work with. Rose. Now Kirsten Kasperai. Rose. Kasperai. Back to Yamashita. I have to say, I am very surprised that City have gone about this game in the way they're trying to, with Greenwood overlapping, and then not playing Uwahabi. It definitely indicates that Uwahabi's leaving in the summer. But could you not have got her an opportunity, given her the opportunity tonight, playing in that role? Because Greenwood's getting up there and isn't really able to offer what you would expect from Kasperai on the same side, as Kasperai comes down the right-hand side now into Carolyn. Looking now to combine. Great hold up from O'Brien, and we'll force her backwards. Here's Rose. Hemp. Again, forced backwards. Rose. Here's Rebecca Knack. Greenwood. Shifts it inside. Miedemar turns out, slips it in behind. Shaw makes the run off the shoulder well. Keys stands her up. Shaw takes it past her. Can she fashion the shooting opportunity? She can. Save well. Kasperai denied. Miedemar denied. And a few shots, a succession of shots denied at close range. And Mouchon working hard. Stops Rebecca Knack. Really good defending, and Knack committing the foul.
Yeah, again, back to the wall defending for Leicester City. Feel like they probably should have netted from this one. Again, superb movement from Shaw. Bursting into the penalty area. Sends Keys the wrong way. And it's another big save from Clark in the Leicester net. Kasperai's rebound couldn't quite convert. And then T-Bow, I think it was, with the block from Miedemar's effort. Another big save from Clark, keeping this game level, and Khadija Shaw probably should have scored by now.
They do well there, Leicester, to sort of funnel the shot centrally with their movement. I still think Shaw should do better, but by blocking in that way, it does force it very central and it goes straight at Clark. Carolyn looking to be a little more direct, headed away well by Keys, nodded forwards by Van Egmond. And Coffey wins that game of headers. It falls, though, into the possession of Tebow, who's robbed of possession by Carolyn. Plays it inside. Miedemar now creating the space for the shot, and that trickles against the post. And that's dealt with by Leicester City, but as Leicester missed one against the post a few moments ago, City similarly unfortunate there.
Yeah, again, Tebow gets this horribly wrong and gives it to Carolyn, who I didn't think needed to shift this to Miedemar, but she does. It's good footwork from Viviana Miedemar. The shot's a little bit tame, and it kind of just bobbles its way onto the post. But the framework is getting a good testing tonight at the Joey.
It's short. That's well to keep that in touch. Yeah, it's one of those. A few players jumped there. Tebow made the mistake. Keys, I think, just panicked a bit. Was a little erratic in her movement. Coffey there goes down under little pressure from McLaughlin, but it will be a free kick.
Yeah, silly one from McLaughlin. Sam Coffey facing her own goal, not going anywhere. Doesn't really need to concede the free kick.
Ball down the right-hand side. Hasegawa's pulled wide here to receive. Plays it into the box. Shaw won't get there. Miedemar will. And somehow it's another missed chance for City. Straight down the middle of the goal. Clark, no issues claiming that one.
Yeah, again, City in clinicality is costing them at the moment. It's a great ball in from Hasegawa. Shaw misses it. Miedemar just drifts into the penalty area unmarked, but the header straight at Olivia Clark. Another decent save from the Leicester keeper, but it's becoming too easy now for City, and they're coming forwards once again. They've got Leicester exactly where they want them.
Ball delivered by Greenwood, headed away well by Keys. Lehman playing it forward into the feet of Mouchon and Rose on her, and there's 4 players around. Naomi Mouchon holds on to the ball well, though. Mailing back to Keys, and Leicester will enjoy a moment of possession here. Clark goes long. Lehman will get there. Loses out to Hasegawa, though. Coffey now into Alex Greenwood. Here's Hemp. Wants to take on the full-back. Ball in for Shaw, and she wasn't going to miss that one. Pinpoint delivery from Lauren Hemp, and Khadija Shaw heading home at close range. A tidy finish, and City peppered the Leicester goal, and finally the deadlock breaks. Manchester City 1, Leicester 0.
That was coming. City piling on the pressure in the last few moments, missing some big opportunities, but Khadija Shaw just drifting away from the defender within the penalty area, and it's a good header. Again, really poor from Leicester. Initially, it's too easy for Greenwood. Neither Mouchon or Lehman bothered to get back in, and that's a big problem because it allows Greenwood to have the time to bring the ball forwards, play it into Hemp, who has the beating of Mailing, who gets caught flat-footed. Really good from Lauren Hemp. Nice ball in from the England winger, and Khadija Shaw. It's a lovely diving header, but at Leicester undone there massively through a lack of work rate. Starts with the front line. Really poor from Mouchon and Lehman combined. They've got to talk to each other there, and one of them's got to at least bother to get back in, because it just leaves way too much space. And once one player doesn't get back in, everyone shifts. The space is out there for City, and they punish, and that goal was coming. Deserved lead for City.
Yeah, you can't leave Khadija Shaw unmarked in the penalty area either.
No.
3 centre-halves in there. Nobody picks her up. Swaby standing closest, but not tight enough. Got to make life more difficult for Khadija Shaw, and Leicester City come undone after 20 minutes. Ball down the right-hand side. Carolyn here up against Tebow. Ball into the box. Blocked by Tebow into the hands of Olivia Clark.
Yeah, all about the reaction now from Leicester, because there are some positive things within that first 15-20 minutes. They've fallen behind here, but they shouldn't be disheartened. It was poor defending for the goal, but they've given City a decent contest.
Indeed, Clark lifting it to the left-hand side. Neville heads it forwards. Coffey cutting it out. And now Tebow back to Olivia Clark. Clark looking for a forward pass. Lifts it out to the left-hand side, and Neville brings it down. Back now to Tebow. McLaughlin. Tebow. Back from O'Brien to Neville, who looks to go long again, and that one just floating out of play.
Yeah, again, it's been a really good 24 minutes from Ash Neville, and this is why it frustrates me. Uh, when she does have these games where she gives away penalty, has some absolute shockers sometimes, because it's been a good performance. I mean, that admittedly was a bit back to just smash it long for the sake of it. But again, better from Leicester. That they've looked pretty decent on the ball tonight.
Neville into Mouchon. O'Brien now slipping it in behind. Got to look right there. Shannon O'Brien. Sarah Mailing in so much space. And there were much better options there for O'Brien. Hemp driving the ball the other way. Greenwood now overlapping. Is going to get there. Ball in towards the box and claimed well by Clark.
Yeah, Mailing struggling out there on that right-hand side. Lauren Hemp's just got the better of her every single time. And with Greenwood overlapping and no one tracking, as I said, neither Mouchon or Lehman are getting back in defensive situations.
But it's such a difficult job up there for Mailing. She's got to be the right winger in possession, drop back into right back. It's that constant movement.
Yeah.
She's just tiring, and it's the same space that United exposed that City are exposing today, and it's just so much. It's too easy to double up on that side, and Mailing's really struggling again. Mouchon delivers it in there. McLaughlin meets it and wasn't expecting to meet that cross. Kasparai misjudged it, and McLaughlin frustrated with herself there. Great movement towards the back post and met Mouchon's delivery perfectly. Just didn't expect it to drop to her.
Yeah, again, nice from Mouchon. It's a great ball in, and McLaughlin was disappointed with that one. A delivery, one of those from Mouchon where she didn't really know who she was going for, but put it into a dangerous area and was unlucky to not reap the rewards.
Mouchon holds it up well. O'Brien twists out of trouble, but twists off the pitch. And now Manchester City with the throw on this near side.
Again, when you do watch Noemi Mouchon in action, just from this first 35 minutes, I just think what could have been for Leicester if she'd managed to stay fit under Amandine Merkel, and then even going into this season. Just such a bright spark, always looking to cause problems, has pace, but also has physicality.
I imagine a crazy world where Leicester didn't sack their manager 3 days before the start of the season.
Yeah.
What could have been? Rebecca Knack. Moving it across to Jade Rose. Yamashita. Now Knack. Shifts out to the left-hand side. Greenwood. A pass into Viviana Miedemar. Knocking it wide to Hemp. Who wants to take on Keys, and that's the beating of Sari Keys. Ball in there towards the back post, hooked away by T-Bow. Neville running it into trouble. Able though to battle away. Miedemar comes away with possession, takes aim and fires past Olivia Clark. And City are in a ruthless mood this evening. Manchester City 2, Leicester 0. It's another good effort, but Leicester, the architects of their own downfall there. Neville trying to play it into trouble. Miedemar picking up possession and just smashing it past Clark. Man City 2, Leicester 0.
Yeah, again, really messy from Leicester. Complete wrong decisions across the board. And one of the easiest goals Miedemar will score hits it so nicely. It just looks so easy for her to nick the ball off Neville and then just smash it past the goalkeeper, completely unchallenged. Once she wins the ball off Neville, completely unchallenged, given the room just to take a good first touch and smash it past Clark. And City, as you say, are starting to really build a commanding lead here, and what was a decent 20 minutes for Leicester is unravelling quickly.
They're too open. And they've gone aggressive tonight, and to an extent I respect the bravery, but there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity, and they're just so open. I mean, maybe they'll get a goal in this game, but at this rate it's going to be a consolation at 10-0. Lehman cuts it back. Van Egmond. Here's McLaughlin. Wide into Neville, who delivers it in towards the back post. Falls now for Lehman, who takes aim. O'Brien on hand. Hits the crossbar. And Leicester City, while they may be open defensively, should have scored by now in this game. Miedemar carrying the ball forwards. At least Leicester have made this a fun end-to-end watch.
How has she missed that?
I don't know.
How has Shannon O'Brien missed that? 5 yards from goal. Yamashita is completely out of position, and she's just smashed it onto the crossbar. Unbelievable. And that's why I said it just speaks volumes of Leicester's issues in front of goal. I mean, that is probably the best chance Shannon O'Brien will get all season to score a goal.
How do you miss the unmissable? The only excuse that I've got for her in that situation is that she is coming back onto the ball and trying to hook around it. But I still think it's such an easy opportunity. Mouchon gets round Coffey there, too easy there from Sam Coffey, and Mouchon driving away from her. Options to the left-hand side. Coffey gets back in. Mouchon battles hard for the ball, though. Now to McLaughlin, who can spread the play wide. Neville into O'Brien, who makes the run off the shoulder. Rose not able to close her down, and the ball floated into Yamashita's grasp.
Yeah, as you say, Leicester are leaving themselves incredibly open, but it's making for quite an interesting game. Looking back at this chance, and ball in from Neville, met brilliantly by Lehman at the back post, who gets a shot on goal. Big save from Yamashita, parries it straight to Shannon O'Brien, and with Yamashita on the floor, defenders nowhere near her, just scoops the ball onto the bar.
I think McLaughlin's reaction on the edge tells it all. She can't believe that's not in the goal. And Leicester miss an opportunity to find a goal in this game. That's 2 big chances now Leicester probably should have done something with. And this is where we talk about that little bit of that openness in the City defence.
Yeah.
They are a very good side, but there is a fallibility. I think they are too open in transition. A side here in Leicester who are absolutely taking the game to them in the attack at the at the cost of their defence being incredibly open is leaving City a little bit vulnerable defensively. Knack into Alex Greenwood. Miedemar pulls wide to receive. Now Coffey, who carries to the left-hand side. Greenwood again, flicked back in towards the movement of Coffey, who just wants to lift it into Lauren Hemp, but it's into Sari Keys instead. And she will clear it up the touchline. And Greenwood has a battle on her hands to keep hold of possession, but does squeeze it back to Rebecca Knack. Rose. Kasparai back to Rose. Switching the play. Great control from Lauren Hemp. Give and go with Viviana Miedemar. Gets away from Mailing well. Ball across the box. Shaw tries a fancy flick, but unable to turn it goalwards. Would have been a goal of conceded, a goal of the season contender if she'd pulled that one off. Unable, though, to connect with the ball and unable to find the target.
I get why she's tried it, but if she just swings her left foot there, it's 3-0 City.
Why not try it? You're 2-0 up after half an hour. City have had a whole host of chances. 10 shots in this game already. You're going to get more. You're going to get more opportunities.
Very true. Very true. But again, brilliant from short. She was just offside. So it probably wouldn't, it would have counted because the linesman didn't give it. But maybe a fair result then that it didn't go in. Yeah, just tried to...
Didn't quite connect with it. Mistimes it.
As you say, if she pulls that off, goal of the season.
It's up there. It's up there with Moeki Minami. Moeka Minami against Brighton for London City. Van Egmond into Mailing. Knocks it down the line. Lehman brings it under her control. Ball into the box. And Hasegawa, the recipient, as City now can play out from the back. Zato says, that's my key critique with Coffey. She's not mobile enough to be dominant. It's why she's not featured more for the USWNT. The young guns like Hutton are bound to replace her. I think that's bold criticism. I think there's always going to be flaws to everyone's game. No one's perfect except from Yui Hasegawa. But I think she's a very good conductor of the play. And what we're starting to see from City in this game is an indication of the shift they could be looking to make next season. And that's similar to what Arsenal are doing, actually. But they're looking to push the left back high as well as the right back. And then they're using Coffey, splitting the centre halves to form that back three. And I wonder if that's something they could be looking at with the idea of reintroducing a natural left back to their game. Miedemar carries it forwards, looking options across the box. Blocked well, though, by Mailing, and that's out for a corner.
Again, good football from City. Greenwood with a lovely ball down the line into the channel for Viviana Miedemar to latch onto. And couldn't quite find the cutback. Had Shaw in there, had Caroline in there, but Mailing recovers well to put it out for a corner. But again, it's just relentless now from Man City.
Swung back into the box, headed down, bounces around, and it's Mouchon who gets that one clear. And Lehman will put pressure on this ball, but Hasegawa plucking it out of the air well. Yamashita back across to Yui Hasegawa. Greenwood. Hasegawa down the line into Hemp. Hasegawa lifting it back over the top to Hemp, who's now looking across the face. Can she pick someone out? Lifts it in there. Shaw unmarked. And that's saved well by Clark. Great movement from Shaw to get away from Neville there. Or get away from Tebow, sorry. And heading it on target. Tebow, again, not close enough to Khadija Shaw. Can't let her just get to that uncontested.
It's incredible how many times Khadija Shaw's been unmarked in the penalty area in this game. And she could have had a hat-trick by now, easily. I mean, if she does, if she scores again tonight, she'll be averaging a goal a game. Absurd.
She's already. One more.
15 from
16th game. Yeah,
it's just outlandish. Here comes City once again.
Hemp to Miedemar. Can she find the finish? Blocked on the line by Tebow. Hemp ball in. Miedemar head time. Her second, City's third. And City are running riot here at the Joey. A muted celebration from Viviana Miedemar, perhaps sensing that there's more goals to come in this game. Manchester City 3, Leicester City 0.
Again, Leicester City cannot cope with the firepower in the City front line. And Viviana Miedemar is both City strikers enjoying a lot of room in that penalty area. But when Shaw takes away all the attention, it allows Viviana Miedemar to just drop into the penalty area unopposed. Good from Hemp. Cuts it back to Miedemar initially and the shot was blocked. And you'd think that with the fact that Miedemar was open the first time, they might have picked her up. But the second time, once again, back out to Hemp, crosses it in. Miedemar with a nice header to beat Clark. And enjoying a really nice run at the moment is Viviana Miedemar.
Great work from Miedemar there, because it's so easy for a forward to have missed that opportunity and just sort of sulk and not get back in. But she bursts back on side, so she's in a position there to take up this position to score. And City, I mean, they're barely celebrating because it just feels like bullying. Leicester cannot compete. City utterly dominant, and at this rate, they're going to get to a ridiculous scoreline.
Yeah.
Neville. Inside to McLaughlin.
So open.
Picked off by Coffey. Here comes City again. Miedemar on for a hat-trick. Slips it wide. Here's Shaw cutting it across goal. And that one denied. And I think an offside flag there up against Lauren Hemp.
Yeah, again, another brilliant move from City. They win the ball, with Leicester trying to bring it forward. And Leicester are left way too open. Get the ball out to Shaw, who puts it into Hemp, who not only puts it wide, but did drift offside. But I mean, this is schoolboy from Brick Passmore. Yeah. I cannot believe he's tried to play so positively and so aggressively against this Man City side.
Yeah.
As you say, there's bravery and there's trying to be optimistic, and then there's just being stupid. This was never going to work tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you've just left your team so exposed, and Carolyn now coming down the right-hand side, cuts it back, has to go, or that's a fourth. This is getting nasty. This is getting really nasty now. Manchester City running rampant against Leicester. 37 minutes on the clock. 4 goals in the back of the net. Great work from Kerlin to keep this in play. Cuts it back to Yui Hasegawa. And City have a fourth.
Yeah, tidy again from Manchester City. Way too easy for Kerlin on this right-hand side. Tebow comes running to get to it, throws her head at it and completely misjudges the flight of the ball. It's a long throw. No one's picked Kerlin up. Tebow comes running out to get there, completely misses it. Kerlin keeps it in touch, cuts it back to Hasegawa. Yes, it takes a deflection off Swaby, which takes Clark out of the game. But again, brilliance from City. But it is so easy for them out there. And yeah, this looks like champions versus a side that belong in the WSL 2. This is just the class above. City are a class above Leicester at the moment.
I mean, it's a sackable offence to go out and play like this. It absolutely is. I don't think Passmore is anywhere near getting the sack. I think Leicester know how difficult this season is, and Passmore has got them results. But how on earth do you set up like this in a game against Manchester City? What do you think is going to happen? Yes, they've created some attacking opportunities, but every time City come forwards, they're going to score. Viviana Miedemar has had 7 shots. We've only been playing 37 minutes. She has had 7 shots. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. There's space everywhere Particularly, though, the gap between midfield and defence. That's why Miedemar's the player picking up the ball so often, because that's where the space is. And, yeah, marking's been poor, irrespective of the fact the shape is way too open. And this is looking silly. Absolutely silly at the moment. Hasegawa, nice turn. Slips it into Hemp. And they're coming forwards again here. Lauren Hemp up against Keys. Chopping back, looking for support. Hemp does well, gets past Keys, lays it to Hasegawa, who's got a taste for goals now, towards Miedemar, who battles for possession and loses out. And now City will look to come forwards. Mouchon lays it wide. O'Brien. And it's picked off there by Sam Coffey, who can play it into Lauren Hemp. Hemp holds up the ball. Mouchon knocks it out of play. It takes a touch. It doesn't take a touch right off Hemp, and that will be a City throw.
Crazy to think that Leicester have hit the bar and the post in this game. But again, yes, they got those chances, but you can't play City in an end-to-end match because you don't have Khadija Shaw. You do not have the clinicality of Manchester City. And yeah, if Leicester had the players to score the chances that they did have, it's a different game, of course. But it's left them so open. They don't have the quality to be a top side. You look at Arsenal City at the Jerry, was very transitional at the start of the season. That worked because they were two top quality sides with top quality attackers. Leicester don't have that quality. Yeah, true.
Hemp, ball into the box. Swavey heads it away. Hasegawa trying to feed that through to Carolyn, and that's cleared well by Clark. But yeah, I mean, what are we watching? 4 shots for Leicester, I think, would have looked good on paper before kick-off, but when City have had 14, 9 on target, Clark has had no chance.
I was going to say, she's pulled off some brilliant saves to keep it at 4. I mean, the clinicality rate from City is just absurd. 14-9 on target in 41 minutes of football is very impressive. But it's easier because the amount of space, the amount of time they've got to let those shots off.
Sam Coffey exchanging with Greenwood. Rose stepping up well. Shifts it into Kirsten Kasperai. Carolyn. Kasperai. To Carolyn. Rose. Rebecca Knack looking to the left-hand side. Greenwood. Swings it in from deep. Shaw will bring it out, bring it under her control. On back well in there though by McLaughlin. And Lehman carrying it forwards. Blocked well by Coffey. Who's looking forwards with possession. Greenwood. Wide to Lauren Hemp. Coffey lifted over the top, headed away well. And now Neville brings it down, one high by Hasegawa. Neville wins it back. She'll drive the ball forwards, clipping it over the top. Mouchon was trying to get there, but Yamashita flying off her line to head that one away.
Yeah, good goalkeeping from Yamashita. Read the flight of the ball well and got out there before Mouchon could latch onto it. And City are looking to just cruise into half-time here.
Zato says, does City have the title mathematically tied up with a win today? Nope, not yet. The earliest, unless United drop points, that they could win the title is in game week 19. Obviously, if United, Chelsea, Arsenal all drop points between now and then it could come earlier. As it stands, they would move 11 points clear, but United could close that back up to 8. And with 18 points still available, City have still some work to do.
Yeah, I think, as I said, before tonight, I think there were 4 wins, 12 points, 4 wins. So if they win this, which if they don't now, be stunned. I think it'd be 3 more wins for City.
Yeah, game week 19.
Which is just ridiculous. And that's why we said earlier that the fans don't need to be worrying, because although they did lose to Arsenal, they've responded brilliantly here now, but they need to win 3 games.
This really doesn't paint a good picture of United, does it?
No, it doesn't. But I think
very different setups.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't paint a good picture of London City Lionesses, who lost to Leicester City back in December. Miedemar, great touch there and turn, clipping it inside this time, looking to get an assist to add to her tally for this evening. Neville clearing the ball away.
But that's the thing for Leicester. This is the great way to play against teams like London City, when you probably have got the slightly better quality, or it's an even matchup, and you want to be positive, you want to be a bit aggressive. But doing it against the league leaders is just ridiculous.
Miedemar into Lauren Hemp. Miedemar, great hold up. Wide into Greenwood. Miedemar. Coffee. Greenwood. Coffee. Sagawa. Coffee again, brought down in there by Naomi Mouchon. That's a free kick for Manchester City. Minute of additional time in this first half. If City needed any extra time to find a goal, well, they've got it.
I think the officials using a bit of common sense there.
Yeah.
And realising that...
I mean, to be fair, the only stoppages have been when City have needed to celebrate their goals.
Yeah.
Miedemar. Knack. Into Greenwood. Now Hemp. Holds the ball up well. Great turn there from Lauren Hemp, driving the ball forwards. Ball into the box, headed away. Hasegar on the edge. And Lehmann hooks it clear. Coffee. Now Miedemar. Into Shaw, and Coffee made that forwards run. The combination almost came off. And that would have been a great chance for Coffee to get her first City goal. Mouchon carrying this forward. Knack trying to win it back. Mouchon gets away from her. Tries to clip it across, and Rose on hand there to sweep up and deal with Naomi Mouchon. And that, the half-time whistle here at the Joey. A delayed start, but City still looking sharp. 4-0 at half-time. They've run absolutely rampant in that first 45 minutes. Shaw opened the scoring after 22 minutes where Leicester were in this game. But the 16 minutes that followed that was anything but. City averaging a goal every 4 minutes in that passage. Miedemar double on 28 and 36. Took them up to 3-0. Hasegawa there in the 38th minute with a tidy finish, adding the 4th. City running riot. Leicester nowhere. It's Manchester City 4, Leicester City 0.
Brilliant half and brilliant reaction from the league leaders. Losing last week. Some fans feeling a bit of the pressure that maybe there could be a potential slip up, but City showing no signs of letting up, and their title is looking closer and closer. That was a 45 minutes of champions. Leicester tried to be aggressive, tried to be positive. City, they reacted well to that challenge. They stepped it up, and as you say, that 16-minute spell, they just blew the opposition out of the water. Brilliance from everyone involved in a City shirt. Lauren Hemp, magical. Khadija Shaw, dangerous as ever. Viviana Miedemar, some brilliant finishes across the board. City's attack has been clinical. They've been cutthroat, accurate as well. The amount of shots on target compared to the number of shots they've taken is extremely impressive. Yeah, they're in complete control of this game, and yeah, those star players are really showing their quality.
Oh, this isn't a match. This isn't a contest.
No.
It is one side who look comfortably stronger than the other. If this was an FA Cup tie and you told me this was a National League team up against a WSL side, that's the difference between the two teams that we're looking at right now. It doesn't look like a side who have the quality to stay in the league. It looks like a team who are so open. And the setup, it's utterly bizarre from Rick Passmore, setting up to fail to an extent. It's so open at the back. What were you expecting to happen today? You're playing a Manchester City team on top of their game. A Manchester City side who've had no issues tearing teams apart up until lately, when they struggled against Arsenal. But they put 5 past Chelsea, and Chelsea are still a top side, no matter how much some Chelsea fans seem to think that they may be the worst team ever. Chelsea are still a top side, and City tore them apart because they got the setup wrong. How do you not take caution from that? How do you not look at that game and go, we should probably be quite defensive? It's brave from Leicester, but I don't think it's gone beyond brave. It's stupid. The fact they haven't changed anything. How you look at the first goal, then the second goal, then the third goal, and then even the fourth goal. and don't make an adjustment. They've got to change something at half time. They've got to go to a deeper setup just to keep their goal difference respectable and intact. Before this game, Leicester had only conceded 25 goals. And when you consider some of the teams in this league, Aston Villa conceded 29, West Ham conceded 34, that was pretty respectable.
Yeah.
Now it's at 29. And quite quickly, they could be getting close to West Ham's number of goals conceded this season, just on this game alone. Really poor from Rick Passmore. Way too open were Leicester in that half. Pressing high, but not really pressing your back line, not really pushing your back line up. It's just leaving huge gaps in midfield. City's midfield last week, we saw how much they struggled as they were suffocated by Arsenal. And what we've seen is Leicester respond by taking everything out of midfield. And it's been two Leicester City players completely isolated in the middle of the park as City knocked the ball round them. And they get into the final third. There's a disconnect between Leicester's defence and midfield in those defensive situations. There's way too much space, and City are just absolutely showing their quality off.
Yeah, it's been incredible from City, and they're really punishing Leicester, who will be rightfully frustrated because I think they've done certain areas done really well. I think that Ash Neville's done had a really good game on this left hand side, but we're just watching Malin get beaten every time on the right, and as you said, the distance between the midfield and the defence, the box defending has been atrocious, absolutely terrible. When you've got Viviana Miedema and Khadija Shaw on the football pitch, two of the best strikers in the last few years, how can you allow them both to be so often unmarked? It's unbelievable from Leicester. 3 centre halves in there. And there's been certain moments where all three of them are marking absolutely nobody. Just the basics have gone out the window. And as you say, City are running right. Of course, you have to give credit because the movement from players like Shaw, the movement from players like Miedema is world class. And that has made the difference. And, they've managed to take up some great positions and score from them. I think the first header from Shaw was a brilliant piece of movement to drop off, then run back and, diving header into the back of the net. But yeah, it's just been exemplary from Man City. 4 really well taken goals. Leicester complete disarray, and it's an absolute shambles from everybody involved. Passmore's got the setup completely wrong, but individuals on the night, the defending is just all over the place. And as I say, when you leave Khadija Shaw unmarked in the penalty area, of course she's going to score headers.
But watching back through that first goal, too easy for Hemp on the left hand side, Mailing unable to get back in there, unable to deal with the physical aspect of that role, and Shaw unmarked in the penalty area. Miedema jostling for the second and lashing it home. A strike of real venom from Viviana Miedema.
Yeah, really good strike. Again, does well to win the ball off Neville. Nowhere unless a City shirt then gets out to her. And it's a good first touch from Miedema, but the strike is pure class. Drives so much power through it. Clark gets a hand for it, but was never going to stop it with the sheer amount of force that Miedema drove through the ball. Exactly what you need to. Through a crowd of bodies, you need to hit the ball low and hard, and a world-class finish from Miedema.
Absolutely. And the second goal for Viviana Miedema, brilliant once again. I said in the moment, it's great from Miedema, the work here, the work rate to get back into an onside position and to get facing goal and be in a position there to head home. Really smart stuff from an intelligent player, reads the situation well. And that final goal, Carolyn breaking down the right-hand side, does well to keep it in play, cuts it back. Yuri Hasegawa needs a deflection, but completing what was a dominant first half.
Yeah, again, really good from Carolyn. Silly from Tebow. Long throw. No one's picked up Carolyn anyway. And Tebow goes running out to it, misses the ball, and Carolyn can just watch it as she sails past. And Carolyn picks it up, keeps it on the touchline. Bit of fortune for Hasegawa, but ends up in the back of the net regardless. And
what's Swaby doing?
No,
Stand that ball up and potentially you block it, but flailing legs around. And Phil says, why is Swaby not even marking on crosses? I just don't get it. It's way too open for and it's so poor from the centre backs. Regardless of how bad the tactics are, City are crossing balls into unopposed players. It's just way too easy for them to find a route to goal at the moment. Al Simmons asks, is Hasegawa playing deeper with Coffey than she does with Blinkhilda Brown? No, Hasegawa actually plays a lot higher than she does with Blinker Brown. With Blinker Brown, it's a little bit more of a dynamic midfield where one player drops in, the other pushes forwards, and they sort of intertwine those roles. Coffey's much more of an out-and-out defensive midfielder, though. So we're now seeing Coffey as more of the conductor and the base of the midfield, and it frees up Hasegawa to have more of a roaming role where she's able to carry that ball forwards, be a bit of a playmaker for Manchester City, be the key ball carrier in that system. And she's launching attacks, she's carrying that ball up the field, she's creating stuff for Manchester City. Similar to the kind of role we saw her in when they had Philippa Angeldal. Angeldal was that anchor in midfield that freed up Hasegawa to be a little bit more fluid in her play, be a little bit more aggressive in her movement. As says, sorry, I meant hard. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Coffey is. What do you think of Coffey's first 45 minutes? Hasn't been involved loads. What have you thought?
I think she's one of those players that, the way she kind of moves around a football pitch is very, she oozes class. And I think it's something we've seen in glimpses. It's not there yet, but I wouldn't expect it to be. Again, she's still getting back the sharpness, but also adjusting to the pace of the league, to the system that Jeglertz wants to play. So, of course, there's that adjustment period. And I think that we have seen a couple of good combinations that haven't quite come off. And a couple of moves where potentially that pass has been lacking, or just that bit of sharpness isn't quite there. But I think on the whole, she's a player that I think she's looked pretty decent. Again, she just keeps things ticking over, keeps things moving, and as you say, as much as her on the ball stuff is quite important, and her linking up is positive, the way that she allows Hasegawa to get further forwards is, probably the biggest advantage of having Coffey in there. But yeah, of course, she's a very tidy player. Doesn't really put a foot wrong in terms of, we're looking at pass accuracy. It's very, very strong. And I think that, as I say, a couple of moves haven't come off, but on the whole, you can see why Man City, brought her in.
I mean, you say there that perhaps we've not seen too much of her, but actually in this game so far, she's done exactly what you'd expect from Sam Coffey. Most fouled player in the game, which I thought was a little bit interesting. Wow. Three times she's been fouled so far, but she is so good at holding onto that ball. The only way to get it off her is to foul her. 0 times dispossessed, the least of any player, of course. Couldn't have less than that. Most passes completed in this match with 43. Most touches of any player on the pitch was 62. Most passes into the final third was 7. She's absolutely dictating the play for Manchester City, and exactly the kind of figure we expect to be, that metronome in the base of midfield who dictates the tempo, dictates the possession, and provides a platform from which City's attack can absolutely thrive. And I think as much as Leicester have been really poor today, what we're perhaps seeing is City evolving a little bit, using Coffey to allow their team to be a little bit more aggressive. And it does point to potentially towards the direction of City looking at using wingers cutting inside, looking at having both fullbacks be a little bit more aggressive next season. Could we see them evolve and actually be a little bit more of the dominant team this season? They've been fantastic in being that transitional team. Do they want to control games a little bit more next season? It's the same sort of pipeline that we saw Bon Pastor try and take. She went a very different direction about it. But Chelsea moved from being this transitional team into trying to be that possession dominant side. Renee Slagers did the same. Ultimately, what you want to remain at the top is control. City look like they're trying to bring in control, and signing Sam Coffey goes a long way to do that. So you bring in that control while not compromising on what has been a really strong attack this season. That at least looks to me the direction they're going to take this team.
Yeah, and I think that is something that should encourage City fans, because, as you say, it's very easy for sides to have a good season playing. We're playing a bit more transitional, it's a little bit more aggressive. But they have a good season doing that. They win the league or they win something. They go into the next season playing the same way, and they get massively caught out. So the fact that Jeglertz and the City are off the pitch, Man City are already thinking about next season, already thinking about the long-term era under Andre Jeglertz. They want to make sure this season isn't just a one-off success. They want to build a legacy. They want to get things going. So yeah, it's really encouraging to see that City are having that kind of wider lens as to what they're doing now is working to, and it will work to win the league this season. But how can they improve to make sure that this formidable form continues? But yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. As you say, control is a massive part of the modern game now, and if City can bring that in, then they'll be looking very, very strong going into next season as well.
Yeah, I'd also like to caveat and say not to draw unnecessary conclusions yet, because there's every chance that they are just being more aggressive today because they want to expose that weakness, and that's the only reason they're pushing the left back higher. But it does show they're experimenting with that idea, and I mean, they've been so good in this game, you wouldn't be surprised if they were looking at that a little bit more going towards next season. So we'll see what they'll do. But Man City providing some half-time entertainment in case there wasn't enough action in that first half. Two blokes dressed up as horses, hurdling against each other.
That is quite something. I mean, that's what it's probably felt like for Leicester defending their field.
Horse, right?
Yeah, it's been very difficult for them, but yeah, I think that City, they're enjoying themselves, aren't they? Fans are enjoying themselves. Players look like they're having fun, and the pressure's off. I think that obviously the loss was difficult to take last weekend, but the fact that they're falling up at half time now, they'll enjoy themselves in the second half. I think that they'll be very, very positive, and as you say, they're 3 wins away. I think the City fans will really start to feel that excitement build as we get closer and closer to Jeglertz inside confirming that title.
They've done the hard work. They beat Chelsea. Yes, they lost to Arsenal, but the fact that Arsenal beat Chelsea as well, it's put them in the position now where they are champions elect. Mm-hmm. They are, very much in that spot now. And yeah, as you say, barring what would appear to be a mental collapse at this point, it does feel like City will wrap up this title in the weeks to come. But yeah, they want to do it in style. They want to do it with the same quality they're showing throughout this season. If they can also wrap it up early, it gives them a great shot at the FA Cup, because while other sides are going to have to keep going to the end of this campaign to get into Europe, City can rest up and focus all their eggs into winning a domestic double.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, the finish line's in sight now, but it's about how they cross it. Sometimes we see sides stumble and they crawl and just about get over the line, but I think City will really hope to cross the line in style.
Indeed. So Leicester to get us back underway. Naomi Mouchon from the middle. And it'll be Leicester to get us back going in this game at the Joey Stadium. Waiting now for the referee's whistle. Mouchon from the middle. The referee in no rush as Mouchon now knocks it back, and we're back. Started at the Joey Stadium. Manchester City leading by 4-0. I'd usually say at this point, will we see City kick on or Leicester come back? I don't see any way of Leicester coming back, but the question will be, can they tighten up, or will City continue to take advantage of that leaky defence? Swaby across into T-Bow.
Yeah, it's about winning the second half now for Leicester. Not even win, but taking a positive result from it. Break the game down. 4-0 in the first half, not good enough. Wipe that out of your minds. They can, if they can win the first half, win the second half 1-0, walk off this pitch 4-1 losers, then that'll be a big improvement.
Indeed. Carolyn winning the ball in midfield there, though. Coffey back into Rebecca Knack. Greenwood. Now Knack. Into Jade Rose. Kirsten Kasparai. Knocks it wide to Rose. Knack. Now Hasegawa. Greenwood. Hemp. Back into Yui Hasegawa. Hemp going back into Rebecca Knack.
Rick Parsons got the pad and pen out. I'd love to know what's written on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen many managers reach for a notebook in the WSL this season. But Parsons doing it the old-fashioned way. Hemp trying to drive inside, gets away from O'Brien, cuts it back. Greenwood into Coffey, feeding it wide. Hemp ball in, looking for Miedemar. Headed away well, though, by Keys. Drops on the edge. Hasegawa keeps it alive. Rose. Carolyn. Now Hasegawa. Coffey. Hemp. Ball delivered in. Miedemar takes a touch. Blocked. Drops down for Carolyn, who lashes one home. A cannon of a strike, and City fire home a fifth. Dominant 2 minutes into this second half. Leicester can't get out. And Manchester City dominating in this game. Carolyn lashing it home. And Leicester just struggling to handle the quality of Manchester City. City 5, Leicester 0.
And again, another really good move from Manchester City, and they are not letting up here. Hemp down the left-hand side once again, left in acres. Miedemar looking for a hat-trick. Her shot was blocked. It spilt out to Carolyn, who caught it really nicely. Clark gets a hand on it, but can only push it into the top corner. Really good strike from Carolyn, who adds to what has been a really good run of form for her. It's a lovely angle there, catching the ball nicely. Clark gets a hand to it, but can't keep it out. And City are relentless in this game. And it looks like it could be another long 45 minutes for Leicester.
Yeah, absolutely. Leicester on the ball. Swaby, McLaughlin. One high here by Lauren Hemp, who's fashioning the movement here for the shot and just lifting that one over the bar. Looking to add another to the score sheet.
Yeah, Hemp being the creator of 2 goals already this evening, looking to get in on the action herself. Lovely piece of movement, good drive, burst into some space, but can't quite finish off the chance.
So, goal kick for Leicester, and Clark will use this as a chance to complain, and they've ditched playing out from the back, which I think is 47 minutes too late. But they are now finally going to start to launch it long, and I think City, Lauren Hemp shaking her head there, that maybe at the shot she's just missed. It could also be the fact that she's annoyed Leicester aren't going to keep gifting them opportunities anymore.
Yeah.
Hasegawa dragged down by McLaughlin, and that will be a free kick now for City.
Yeah, as you say, that tactical shift for Leicester is way too late. The damage is already done. I just don't understand why they didn't do it from the start. You got Mushin on there, who's good in behind and at hold up. Lehman again, who's got that pace about her, and O'Brien's another one who can bring the ball down and bring players into the game. So I'm really surprised with the 3 attackers out on the pitch today that they didn't try and be direct and instead just play out and gift the ball to Man City.
Knack knocks it wide to Greenwood. Hasegawa lifting it over the top. Greenwood. Now Hemp. Trying to carry that ball forwards. Mailing, battling for possession. Hemp gets away from her. Ball across the box. Blocked well by Sari Keys. And O'Brien knocking it down the line. The other problem for Leicester is that I look at this shape, and if I thought they could play this way against other teams and get results, then maybe there's some merit to it. But the fact is, they play this way against Liverpool next week. When in their next game, that's not till March. If they play that way against Liverpool, they'll get beaten quite heavily. If they play that way against Aston Villa and they go after that, they'll probably get beaten quite heavily. Maybe it's different against Brighton and London City, and then they've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Everton to round off the season. But I just don't see how playing this way is going to get them results. But yeah. Sophia asks, are you guys City or Chelsea? Both Chelsea fans. Try and be neutral on these shows, though. I hope it doesn't come across. The fact you're having to ask, I hope it doesn't come across who we support too, obviously. But yeah, we do try and be as neutral as possible on these shows. Hemp driving that ball inside. Hasegawa, Coffey. Hasegawa. Sam Coffey knocks it wide. Greenwood. Carries the ball inside. Hemp. Shifts it to Greenwood. Hasegawa. Carolyn. Ball knocked wide by Miedemar into Kirsten Kasparai. On her weak foot, delivers it in there. Headed away well by Swaby. And Mailing just does just about enough to keep that from going out for a corner. Greenwood back to Rebecca Neck. Coffey. Positive touch. Knocking it down the line. Lauren Hemp works hard to keep it in play. Ball in now. Header towards goal. Well, that's a kind description of that Viviana Miedemar attempt. But it was in the general direction of the goal.
Yeah, not as good as their first 2 goals. But yeah, not going to score a hat-trick with headers like that. It's been a clinical performance from City. That's probably the worst attempt of the lot.
And yeah, Miedemar Shaking that one off with a smile.
She'll fancy herself to get a hat-trick tonight. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities for her to score another one in this game.
Clark. T-bow. Clark lifting it forwards. Lehman brings it down well. And one back in there by City. Coffee. Out towards the left-hand side. Greenwood. Looking to target Karen off the shoulder of Neville. Neville does well to get back in there, though. T-bow. Van Egmond. Yuli T-bow. Sends it forwards. Mouchon can't quite get it under her control. I'm back in there by Viviana Miedemar. Tagawa. Coffee. Knocks it back. Here's Knack. Coffee. Hasegawa. Miedemar. Plays it into Kasparai. Miedemar turns out well. Tries to find Hasegawa, who can't quite bring it under her control, and that will run through to Olivia Clark.
Yeah, again, I think Leicester will welcome those kind of through balls with open arms. It's one of those where, as a side, when you're in this position, up against the side of the quality of Man City, you just want to get through the next 37 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, this second half, City have had 74% of possession. Leicester just 26%, 4 shots to none.
But this is where the other problem is now, is that they're still trying to play pretty positively, but they're getting no attacking reward out of it. So why are they still persisting with it?
They've gone a little more defensive now.
They have.
Looking more like a 5-4-1, but City are still finding ways through.
Yeah.
Hasegawa.
But again, as you say, this is why this year had to be City's year, because any other side, the other 3 sides in the Champions League at this point, at 3-0, would have probably taken their foot off the gas. But City can't, City can just keep going.
Kasparai looking for Shaw, one back, falls for Viviana Miedemar, blocked away. Chance now for Greenwood. Here's Hemp. Coffee.
Oh.
Does really well there to beat O'Brien, clipping it towards the back post, and that bounces out. That'll be a goal kick. I think it's going to be interesting over the next few years to observe whether... I saw this point raised the other day, whether teams not having... I mean, we've spoken a lot about how not having Champions League football has been an advantage for City this season.
Mm.
And obviously this City team is incredible anyway, but there's no mistaking that is an advantage. It's going to be interesting to see whether next season, whichever the team is that doesn't get Champions League football, whether they do have a concerted, a noticeable advantage, or whether it is just a sort of meeting of a really good City side combined with the fact they don't have Champions League football, which I think is more the case. That is how I would assess it. But I think it is going to give teams a slight advantage. Because obviously we've seen with City this season, they've played their full strength 11 in every game. They have had very few senior injuries, and to be fair, the areas where they have had some injury concerns, they have been fortunate to an extent that they've not been in areas where they don't particularly have much cover. They've been those wingers. I mean, we've seen Carolyn was out at the start. Fowler and Regina have both had injuries throughout this season. But outside of that, most of their team has stayed fit throughout the campaign.
Yeah.
And a big reason is because they're not playing Champions League football. I mean, they're not playing intense games at the weekend, then the midweek, then the weekend, then the midweek, which does take a huge strain on your players. Kasparai driving it forwards, tries to find Viviana Miedemar, and it's one back in there.
Yeah, I think the big one for me will be Manchester United and City fans, because I think United's season was completely derailed by Europe, and because they picked up all those injuries. I think that Chelsea and Arsenal, of course, have both had injuries this season, but their squads are slightly bigger than Man United's. But as you say, it really depends which one of those sides does not get into the Champions League.
Yeah, because I think as much as people would go, if unless it's Chelsea, I don't think there's going to be a ridiculous advantage. But if Arsenal build really well next season, they're definitely in a position where they could have a squad that can win the league.
Yeah.
I think they've got a manager who has done incredibly well. Whether Slagers is able to build a tactic that can be consistent is a different matter.
Yeah.
But if Arsenal can build a squad, they could be in that position. Chelsea, absolutely. You look at that team on paper, and if they are going to refresh the team this summer, then you'd think they'll be in a position where they could win the league, especially if they didn't have Champions League football. I think United have to be in that conversation now. If not, what are they building towards?
Yeah.
Where are they going? Eventually, they've got to try and win the league.
Yeah.
But City making changes now, and Ayoba Firmino coming on to the field. Good to see her returning to the action the last few weeks. And we'll just wait for all the changes to happen there because they've not done a particularly good job there of showing us who's come on and off. But I can say it's Uahavi, Clinton, and Firmino onto the field. Miedemar made way. You'd have to assume it's Alex Greenwood that's made way. Yeah. And then Caroline, I would expect.
Yes. Was all three of those.
Absolutely. Great. Leicester City with a double change of their own. It looks like 2 changes in the attacking third. Lehmann withdrawn. Williams on in her place. And O'Brien also made way. I didn't quite catch who came on for her. But we will work it out shortly.
So I don't see anyone different on the pitch.
I think it's Heather Payne on at wing back. Or into midfield. Not quite sure. Usually a defender, but has replaced an attacker. So go figure. Firmino, Hasegawa, trying to bring the ball forwards. Plays it inside to Firmino. Tidy footwork through to Clinton, who turns well. Hasegawa. Well, Clinton actually holds on to the ball. Coffee. Now Knack. Hemp. Clinton. Ball clipped forwards. Headed down. Here's Hasegawa. Mouchon. Trying to carry this ball forwards. And one back in there by Coffee.
Is there again, Sam Coffey. But, I mean, I can't imagine being 5-0 down away from home and you see Grace Clinton, Ayoba Firmino and Leila Harvey come on.
Yeah, it's a rough one for Leicester City. Awesome says, I saw a financial ranking by Deloitte that showed City has considerably less money than Arsenal and Chelsea. Do you think this is true? So what that is showing, I assume, the Deloitte rankings are looking at revenue taken in by women's football clubs. So it's difficult because obviously all teams are backed by a Premier League football club in the WSL, apart from London City. Hemp now takes aim from range. And that just wide of the mark. Obviously, the difference with London City is they're owned by one of the richest people in the world. So it doesn't really have too much of a difference. So what the big thing is, it's very difficult to assess which team has the biggest operating budget because it could be anywhere from nothing if you are Leicester City because your men's club don't invest anything, or very little, I should say, for Leicester City, to however much money Chelsea want to give you.
Yeah.
So it varies, but in terms of revenue made, yes, City will be significantly lower. They don't sell the Etihad to the same extent, certainly as Arsenal, but it's not as high as Chelsea when they sell out Stamford Bridge. They don't have Champions League revenue. They don't have Champions League ticket sales. They don't have prize money from last season's competitions because they didn't win anything. So absolutely, those things mount up. Arsenal got a load of money for winning the FIFA Champions Cup. United obviously got a fair amount of money as well for winning the World Super Sevens Fun Day Out, or I can't remember what the official tournament was called. So yeah, all these clubs have those revenue streams, whereas City don't necessarily have that because they didn't win anything last season. But it's pretty pointless. All it shows is which side is making money or bringing in the most revenue. It's not obviously factoring. I don't think it's factors in costs though. But ultimately, it matters very little because what matters more at the moment in the women's game is how much the men's club pumps in. Once we're at a position where the clubs are financially stable enough to support themselves, that's when we can start to look at budgets a bit more seriously. At the moment, though, it's so difficult to ascertain because we don't get information on how much the budgets are for the men's team. We don't get information on contract amounts very often, unless it's Barcelona because they want to brag. Miedemar, that's towards the left-hand side. So yeah, it's not too important really. Hemp drives the ball inside, one back by Williams. Here's Uahavi. Back now to Knack. Coffee. Spreads it wide to Uahavi. Hemp. Ball into the box. Falls to the back post. Kasparai. Offside flag up. And Kasparai able to find the target either way.
Yeah, Hemp had just gone too early, but yeah, you mentioned the utensils the Etihad there, and I think it even goes for the Joey. Like, I mean, I know tonight is obviously a Friday night game, but it's about half full. And again, these are the these are the side that could be the champions the next few weeks. So really, so, you'd like. I think that I really hope this season will do wonders for Man City going into next year, and we should see bigger attendances at the Joey, bigger attendances at the Etihad, because it's been a great season for them. And I think that I mean, obviously, it doesn't help that the men's fan base isn't great either. So that's where the main problem comes from.
That's harsh, but I get your point.
But they don't even sell at the Etihad sometimes. So.
No, I think there are legitimate reasons for that. They do have a smaller fan base, though. I don't think that's a bad thing to say. But I do think, I think City have got an incredibly loyal fan base. But they will, I think there'll be a concerted attempt to grow it next season. Champions League is a huge pull in. Being the champions is a huge pull. I think, they haven't really had any of the key lionesses. Like, they've got Clinton, who is well liked, but I think, the majority, not the majority, but the fans who just sort of watch, people who just watch the major tournaments probably don't know Grace Clinton. Probably don't know Alex Greenwood. I think that's a fair. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that one, but I just feel that they know Toon, they know Williamson, they know Russo.
Yeah,
I'm talking about those kind of fans, so it's difficult to then get those very fair weather fans.
Yeah, they'll know who those players are, like they'll know who Lauren Hemp is. But as you say, if you were a fan of England looking to pick a club, you're gonna pick
Clinton from range, great save from Olivia Clark.
Oh, great time, and Clinton hit the back of the net there. But as you say, if you're an England fan first and you're picking a club to watch, you're gonna pick Arsenal, who have got your Russos and your Chloe Kellys. You're gonna pick United.
If you're in Manchester, you're gonna go too.
Exactly. So I think that does put City on the back foot. It doesn't have Arsenal keep buying them all.
Ball in and clipped over the bar. Knack unable there to turn that one goalwards. Well, I mean, the best thing for City would be if Toon went to Arsenal, because then maybe you just pull in a load of fans there. But Knack there unable to knock that one towards goal. I mean, to be fair as well, City lost the biggest lioness really in Chloe Kelly, the one who is the most recognisable. Ball forwards from Swaby, but I think it's made them a considerably better team. Gareth Taylor was onto something. Noah Harvey battling away for possession. Payne back now to Mailing. This is how they should have started the game, Leicester, with 6 defenders on the field and just tried to kill the game. They have now given it away. Chance for Gino in on goal. Should finish. Rounds the keeper and tucks it away. And City have a 6th. Tidy start from Manchester City. And the side looking to become the first WSL champions not named Chelsea for 6 years find a 6th goal in this game. It was poor from Leicester, trying to play out from the back. Virginia pounced, but she remained composed, rounded the goalkeeper and fired into the back of the net. City 6, Leicester 0.
Goal for Virginia on her return, picking up where she left off before she got injured. Again, as you say, Leicester had tightened up, but City's press catching Swaby out here. Hasselgaard pounces on it, gives it to Virginia. Thought she'd initially fluffed it up, but gets round Clark, and City are just cruising at this point. They look like a side who are ready and who are deserving of having those gold winners medals round their neck in a few weeks' time. They're just flying, and Leicester look like a side who could very much end up playing in the second tier next season.
Yamashita's a goalkeeper who's very much involved in possession. She's had 17 touches. I think that's the greatest indication of City's dominance.
Yeah.
And she's about to get an 18th here as Knack knocks it back to her. And she may dwell on this and take a couple of touches, Yamashita.
She's up 19.
And 20.
Yeah.
Now they're going to make a point.
Yeah.
They want the Joey to start weighing. Rose into Kasperai, knocks it down the line. For Gino back inside to Kasperai. Nice move here from City is forming. Kasperai knocks it down the line again to Fagino, who again goes to Kasperai. Lovely combination here if they work it from back to front. And good defending from Ashley, able to get back in there and make the challenge.
I do like these kind of games, and it is nice to see City get the limelight, because I think that especially on within social media, the women's football space is dominated by conversations from Chelsea fans and Arsenal fans, and I think that the fact that the City fans
and some United fans, I found out today, I criticised Letizia on Twitter, and I honestly thought I'd committed a war crime with the reaction. from certain fans. Clinton there trying to open up the body and go across goal, bouncing just wide.
But City fans have got a season they can celebrate, and I think that they deserve to have their limelight, because despite all the conversation, as you say, being dominated by having United fans and Arsenal fans, City have been the closest challengers to Chelsea over the last couple of years. So the fact that their fans get their point, and I think that I think City fans are probably the most rational fan base in the league. I think that everyone seems to be very level-headed.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it also helps that they're not the biggest fan base, so you do tend to sort of weed out some of the stranger voices. I think City do have a very rational fan base. Most of your videos on this channel are all Man City videos. But when you consider that Chelsea and Arsenal have the biggest, at least domestic followings, it's pretty cool. I mean, all of our top 3 videos are all about Manchester City. So yeah,
thanks guys.
Thanks to the City fans. I absolutely love that. But yeah, I would say City fans are the most level-headed. I think Chelsea, Arsenal, United can all battle it out for the most insane. I don't think there are any normal fans of Chelsea, Arsenal, United.
No.
No one's rational anymore. Change here for Leicester, and it says Mita Ale coming onto the field, and Starry Keys withdrawn.
Love to know why she was dropped. I didn't think she was bad against United. No. That one, really stunned me.
You bring in Yuli T-Bow today, who's really struggled in that back line.
Yeah.
But...
And you bring... I mean, we thought it was a bit weird when they brought in Neville and Mailing. I didn't think they were going to play them both at the same time all the time. Yeah. Some weird... I thought their window wasn't great from Leicester, but there were some signs of promise. But the execution in the second half season has just been so poor.
Yeah, I think they're playing... The problem is they're playing not too dissimilar to how they did at the start of the season. Just everyone's got a bit better.
Yeah.
Look at where they picked up their points. They had they beat Liverpool.
Drew.
Who've got... Did they draw? I thought it was a win.
I think wasn't it 1-1?
Let me have a look.
Might have been 2-1. I think
they beat Liverpool 1-0.
Oh, yeah. Who'd they draw to?
They drew with Everton.
That's the one.
They drew with Aston Villa. They drew with West Ham. They beat London City. All of those teams, with the exception of London City, have got a lot better.
Yeah. Villa.
Well, Villa have got worse, to be fair, but that's just so exclude that one as well. But that was a weird result.
Yeah.
Liverpool are now a much stronger side. West Ham look a lot stronger. Everton have sacked Brian Sorensen and look a different team for it. Mouchon carrying this ball forward. Rose battling away. Mouchon's had a good game, I have to say.
Yeah.
Don't think that she's been so isolated up there, and she's actually offered a threat. I hope that if Leicester are to go down, Mouchon gets a move into the WSL or gets a move to another top league. Cause I think there's a lot of talent there. Just was injured all of last season and hasn't had a manager this season who's going to do anything to help her.
Yeah, I'd love to have seen Noemi Mouchon get a consistent run under Amandine Mikel. I think Amandine Mikel will still be in the dugout and Leicester wouldn't be bottom of the league. But, that's how football goes sometimes. I know a side that needs a striker. Aston Villa. They got about 5 and none of them put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. That'd actually be a really good fit. They play quite transitional. I think Mouchon's suited to that. There we go. Aston Villa's summer signing target. That's that. I'll add that one to my notes for the video in June. Ball into the area. Yamashita punches it away. And Hemp now looking to break. Where they go though for Lauren Hemp as it's won back by McLaughlin. Ale. Payne. That's over here. And out for a City goal kick. Not a great pass that from Heather Payne.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it just really wasn't.
Not much to say on that one.
No.
City building out. From the back once again, 20 minutes to play. The goals have dried up a little. They'd love to get a 7th or an 8th in this game, if they can. Knack there nudged as she plays it down the line to Ua Harby. Hemp dispossessed. Looked to be slightly over the line, but Hemp has no complaints. As Leicester win back possession. Ale. They also brought Ale on and put her at right centre-back.
None of it makes sense.
It's McLaughlin.
Is Rick Passmore in his Brian Sorensen era?
Well, he's got 2 right wing backs on the pitch, a right back and a left back. And the right back's playing left wing back and the left back's playing right centre half. And neither of the right wing backs appear to be playing at right wing back.
I think Rick Passmore might be his Brian Sorensen era. Maybe it's Sorensen in disguise.
That's where he's gone. Coffee. Now Hemp. Shaw. Tries to hold the ball up. Can't quite manage it. It does make it weird that Leicester have given Passmore a contract to 2028.
I know.
I thought it was always going to be a bit of an interim basis and then they'd reevaluate if they stayed up. But I didn't think that they would. They then offered him a permanent deal for 3 seasons. I didn't see anything from his interim spell that suggested that they should do that. And it's now going to be an expensive mistake if they do want to change manager this summer and perhaps go for someone who's going to play flashy football.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Passmore will try and play like he has tonight, and that will work if they go down. But if they're still in this division, I just don't see. Next year's going to be really tough. We're going to have investment coming up from the Championship, we'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
Leicester clearly don't have the money right now. It's horrible that the men's team is having such a big impact on the women's team.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they just don't have the finances to compete. And I don't think Passmore's getting the best out of this squad as it is.
No. I think that the scare... Yeah, yes, these games will be, aren't nice for Leicester and you never want to lose 6-0, but I think the bigger concern will be that right now, this Leicester side, you look at some of the sides in the Championship and in the WSL2, sorry, and right now I think some of those sides would give Leicester a game, at least, if not beat them.
Yeah. I find it very difficult for Leicester to be financially sustainable in the WSL. They don't have the money.
No.
But says, based on tonight, I'm suspicious that Passmore's looking for the golden handshake. Sorry, just clicked off our own stream there. Based on tonight, I'm suspicious that Passmore's looking for the golden handshake and jumping ship. No other explanation for this game plan. The only argument I can make for the game plan is try and hit them early, get a goal, be aggressive. You've got nothing to lose, but I think you could have tried to hold out for a point, and at worst you lose 1 or 2-0, rather than go, well, we're going to try and win this game, and if not, we're just going to lose. But oh well. Yeah. I don't know if that was the game plan they should have gone for. Clinton slips in Shaw, who stays on side, into score, rounds the keeper. What a block. Yuli Tebow gets back in there and denies a certain goal. Shaw should have released that a lot earlier and made it difficult for herself by trying to round the keeper.
Yeah, Shaw makes a complete mess of this. Again, City went out of the pitch. And do you know what? Absolute credit to Yuli Tebow here, because everybody else gives up on it. But she gets back in, she gets behind her goalkeeper, and even though Shaw manages to bumble it past Clark, Tebow gets back in and makes the block. Fair play to her, because everyone else in a Leicester shirt has thrown in the towel.
Ball into the area, headed away. Drops now, and it's cleared well. It's interesting, most elite strikers, and I'm not doubting that Khadija Shaw is an elite striker, she's absolutely one of the best in the world right now. Most elite strikers consistently overperform their XG. Shaw's been so under it this season.
Yeah, but she scored 15
I know,
goals.
It doesn't matter because City creates so many chances. But yeah, she has missed an awful lot this season. Shaw tries to poke it through the lines.
The thought that she could score more.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's insane.
That is worrying. Like, this isn't even Khadija Shaw at her most clinical.
Yeah.
It was just a ridiculous player.
Absolutely. One back here by Kirsten Kasperite. Great turn from Grace Clinton, who can carry this forward. Slips in Shaw, who's in to score. Squares it now for Hemp, and that's saved brilliantly. Olivia Clark stopping this, getting to 7 for the moment. Still a quarter of an hour left, though.
Do you know what? This result won't reflect well on Olivia Clark, but I have to say, I've been impressed tonight. I think that, Janina Leipzig is a big miss for Leicester, and I thought Clark didn't have a good game against Manchester United. Could have done better on both goals, but despite the fact she conceded 6, I think without some of her saves tonight, this could have been a lot worse. That's another really good save. She must be on 7, 8 saves now. It's been a really good performance from Clark, and I'm not sure how many saves she has made. I don't know if it does say, but yeah, a really good performance in goal.
6 saves.
Bit harsh.
And 6 goals conceded.
I thought she's made more saves than that. It feels like
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Yeah, no, she hasn't.
I don't think Opta have miscounted.
They might. I'm going to take it up with him. Stan Coffey's coming off. Quite a good, first half start for her. Looked very, very good. Shock. Yeah. Sam Coffey is good.
To be fair with Clark, though, XGOT faced 4.41 tonight. City have been very good for their shots. She's only underperformed there
Yeah.
by 1.01, but
I think I don't.
yeah.
I mean, I look at the 6 goals. Is there anything she could have done more on any of them?
Miedema's first, absolutely.
Yeah, she got a hand to it, and she got a hand to Carolyn's. So probably those two would be the big ones, but they were hit so well. Yeah,
Absolutely. The shots she has saved though, a lot of them have been quite close to her.
Yeah.
Does make it easier, but yeah, I mean, she's made some saves. Payne waiting for the overlap. Ball in now from Mailing. Payne, Mailing. Here's Payne. Now Ale. Asagawa into Wahabi. Sharo asks who scored to make it 6. It was Ayoba Fujino off the bench. Did well to press high on the ball back. Round the goalkeeper. Slotted it away. Kevin says, is there any way the top 4 teams can represent England in the Champions League? Yes, one very specific way. If either Manchester United, Chelsea or Arsenal win the Women's Champions League this season, but don't finish in the top 3 of the WSL, then they will take the Champions League automatic winner's spot, and I believe the 3 WSL clubs would all get their usual places in qualifying, or blocked well by Oahabi. So I think first would get automatic qualification. Second would enter into the qualifiers, and third would also enter into the qualifiers. I believe that would be how it worked. The confusion last year is because Arsenal won the Champions League but were second. There was a belief amongst some fans that would then mean that the 4th place team, Manchester City, would get Champions League football. It's not how it works. But if they are outside of that top 3, I believe the top 3 would still qualify for Champions League.
Yeah.
Not 100% on that one. UEFA rules are very difficult to know. And I'm not 100% clued up on the women's Champions League specifically, but based on how it works in the men's game, I believe that is how it would go.
Yeah, because they can take places away, and they determine it on ranking every year. So
yeah, but what they can't do is take away. I don't think they can take away a Champions League spot.
No.
From the top 3. Mouchon lifting it over the goalkeeper, and that's onto the top of the goal.
I have to say, Mouchon's one of those where she doesn't deserve to be on the losing team tonight.
Yeah. It's one of those where we've never seen it happen, where a Champions League winner has fallen outside of the top 3, because I mean Arsenal had the opportunity to do it last year if they were worse in the WSL, but they weren't. And other than that, it's always been Barcelona, Lyonès, and Wolfsburg.
Yeah,
who never finish outside the top 3. So yeah. Freya says, think top 2 in the WSL this season automatically qualify.
Yeah.
Oh, chance now for Mouchon. Could spoil the City party. Misses the goal. She's frustrated. That was an opportunity there to really break the hearts of a few aerial fantasy players and ends the Manchester City clean sheet. But Mouchon unable to capitalise on a bit of sloppiness there. 2 games in a row where she's made 1 sloppy pass. That is not the Hatagara I'm used to playing.
Yui Hatagara making an error. That is rare.
Very rare. Couldn't be capitalised. Couldn't be punished on this occasion. Just over the crossbar from the Noemi Mouchon. Phil says, all 3 are capable of both winning it and finishing 4th. Absolutely. All 3 could do that this year. But ultimately, we're going to say this, and John Tangarades is going to win the Champions League with Lyonès.
Yeah, I don't know why we're bigging up the Champions League. Leon just going to win it.
Like, Barcelona have got a good team, but I don't rate their manager. And they've got injury problems. Clinton takes aim, slicing it wide. There's every chance that one of Chelsea, United or Arsenal can pull off some kind of crazy upset. But
that's a good one.
But Lyonès are just so good. They've got 2 teams that could compete in the Champions League, and their first 11 is the strongest team in the world right now. They've got the best manager in the women's game by a distance. It would be a momentous failure if they don't win the Champions League.
Yeah. Can't wait for them to be schooled by Mark Skinner's Man United in the final.
Or knocked out
after he's beaten Barcelona and Bayern Munich.
Knocked out by Juventus in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Or lumped forwards. I'm looking forward to that Juventus Paris FC final for me. That'll go hard. Rachel Williams holds on to the ball well, and a foul in there, and that will be a Leicester City free kick.
An all English final will be interesting.
No, I hate that. That'd be terrible.
Imagine Martin Skinner going
Awful.
defensive against Chelsea or Arsenal again.
There's nothing worse. I remember Chelsea Man City in the men's game. Nothing worse than an all-English final. It just creates such a boring game. It's just never creates anything interesting. Domestic finals inherently, unless it's a bit of a surprise, tend to be quite dull affairs because you just create a situation where two sides have played each other so many times that season. I mean, it's like the Scottish League where they play everyone about 8 times. You know what's going to happen by the 8th?
I think it's one of those where I just want to see Mark Skinner. From an entertainment point of view, I want to see Mark Skinner in the Champions League final.
He absolutely, yeah. He's the he's like the I'm trying to. I know what I'm thinking. I just don't know how to vocalize it.
My thought is
he's a bad guy.
Yeah, but he's also like the bloke who wears a full suit to a Football Manager or FIFA final. That's what I've got the kind of feeling for. He turns up and he's suited and booted and ready to go.
Oh, absolutely. That's a goer. I think he wore a suit, didn't he, at Wembley?
Yeah.
The first time they got there.
And they lost to Chelsea and he didn't do it the next year and they won.
Yeah. And they didn't. I don't think he wore a suit on the most recent occasion. As they lost to Chelsea again.
In Oslo, he'd turn up in a suit.
Phil said I'd still bet on Barca in a one-off game over 2 legs. I'd say Lyon. I just think Geraldo's made a difference in one game.
Skinner's going to
Still, I think it's close. Absolutely, the quality on that Barcelona pitch in that Barcelona team is undeniable. But even then, I think player for player, there's an argument to be made that Lyon is a slightly stronger right now.
Where do you think this City team would have sat in the Champions League if they were in it this season under Jeglertz?
So, well, presumably then they're in over another English club. I think they'd probably be a very similar position to where Arsenal and United were. I think that they don't necessarily have the squad depth and probably would have dropped points to the bigger sides.
Yeah.
But I think that they would have been in and around that 6th place. I think we're probably watching them beat Leuven next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday, sorry. So, yeah. I think it'd be very similar. I don't think they'd be miles better than Arsenal United have been in Europe. I think it'll be fun to watch them next season in the competition. And they showed when they were last in it, the season before last, that in the group stages when they had a fully fit team, I mean, they beat Barcelona.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. So, yeah, I think
that happened.
I mean, yeah, Gareth Taylor, mastermind of the victory over Pere Romeu's Barcelona. We should have known then that Barcelona weren't going to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
They lost to Gareth Taylor's Man City side, and they really struggled last season. Ball up long. Won well by Swaby. Drops in midfield for Blinker Brown. Outside towards the right-hand side. Virginia bringing it under her control. 6 minutes to play here. Leicester looking to try and bring the ball forwards as Virginia robbed the possession, but Hasegawa quick to win it back. Here's Hemp. Carries it well away from Mailing. Darts inside. Clinton now trying to drive it to the right-hand side. Ayoba Firmino wants to take on Neville. Now Blinkilder. Into Clinton, who takes aim. Saves well at the front post by Olivia Clark.
Now they can move from Manchester City. Again, just when they speeded the game up, Leicester can't handle it. Clinton was disappointed with how weak the shot was in the end.
Yeah. Phil says, I think City would be tired injury hit, just like United around the Christmas break. Yeah, I think for City it depends where they get the injuries, but I do broadly agree. I think City looking at the Champions League next season, there are areas in that squad where I think that they can either improve or need depth. I still think they need a backup striker. I still think they need a backup right back. I don't think Laura Weinreuther is good enough for that kind of role. I still think they need a backup centre half because Grace Pryor's done okay, but that's still only one player who can do that job. And yeah, you can put Greenwood there, but then who do you play at left back? So yeah, I think City will want another option in defence. Outside of that, I think they're ready to go.
Yeah. They actually have players that can play in defence midfield that aren't Yui Hasegawa.
Absolutely. But we'll see that next time they play.
It's one of those where they need a champion summer. They need to back up this season.
And ball in. Cleared away well by Ale.
As you say, go out and get another elite rotation centre-half. Go out and get a backup striker. Fill those gaps to take it from a title-winning 11 to a title-winning and a trophy-winning squad.
Yeah, it's one of those where I think it's going to be a very volatile summer in the WSL because I think we're going to have obviously the promoter clubs coming up. London City will always be volatile in the summer window because they're just going to build another team. Chelsea have a lot to do. Arsenal have a lot to do. I think there's going to be a lot of movement. Ball into the box. And Leia. Harvey looking to get in on the act. Unable there to add a 7th.
Yeah, good chance for us from close range. Another great ball in from Hemp, who's just been given the Player of the Match award. Already got 2 assists and created 10 chances. Unlucky for her, Harvey couldn't convert her 11th.
Yeah, Phil says Viv and Bunny both have miles on the clock and very susceptible to injuries. True, but I think next season we'll see more of Clinton in that Miedemar role because she's struggled for fitness. But I think now that there will be a bit more regular rotation, I think she'll get that fitness back, and I think she'll start to really perform for Manchester City in that attack midfield role. And yeah, they absolutely need another striker. I know City fans say, well, Fowler can play there, Kerrigan can play there, but not only does that weaken your depth in other positions, but I don't think those two players replace Bunny in the way that you need to. I think they need another striker. I mean, I think they should just go hell for leather for Turland.
That would be fun. Yeah,
she's not available on a free at the moment.
But yeah, exactly. You know that though using Fowler and co as striker replacements was exactly what they did 2 years ago, and then look what happened.
Yeah.
Shaw got injured. They put Fowler there. Fowler gets injured. You put Kerr in there. She gets injured, and then suddenly we were watching a Kelly Murphy. I can't remember who played as that part
Laura
of that front
Combs.
three.
Yeah. I distinctly remember a game last season where I think Laura Cohn plays a winger.
Yeah.
Hemp drives it wide, ball back across the box, cleared away by Mailing. And now Leicester looking to drive it out of their own third. Here's Knack. Harvey knocks it wide. Benson, ball in, headed away. And Neville getting out to it.
Hope the officials have used some more common sense and decide to not add on a silly amount of minutes at the end of the game here. Leicester just want that final whistle to go. They wanted that final whistle to go about 45 minutes
I don't think
ago.
they even need to add anything on. There's not been too many stoppages. There's been a couple of goals, couple of substitutions, but there's not been any injuries.
It's kind of game where it's like maximum 4.
It shouldn't be anywhere near that, in my opinion. 2. Nothing's. There haven't been any stoppages in the second half. Kevin says, has Bunny signed a new contract? Not publicly. We do. Check out today's video for more information on contracts. If you haven't watched our video yet, make sure to check that out after this stream. We looked at every WSL club and all the players that they've got currently expiring in 2026. Obviously, we did talk about Khadija Shaw there, but I don't see her not renewing in any world.
City should throw everything at her.
I just don't see who comes in for her.
Yeah.
Leoness don't need her. Barcelona don't need her, as good as she is.
Yeah, Leoness
She's not going to go to another WSL club.
Leoness don't need her, but that doesn't necessarily mean they don't want her.
I don't see her going to another European club.
No.
At worst, she decides that she's won the WSL and that's all she wanted. I don't think that will be what she decides, and that she wants to go and play in the NWSL. I don't see any reason that she would do that though. I think she'll stay. She'll want to see if she can win the Champions League with Man City. She's still got a long time at the top level. She can play for City for another few years and then get that big money move to the NWSL. And I think she'd still tear that league absolutely apart.
Oh yeah, she scored more.
50. 3 additional minutes in this second half.
No, you're not 50. But yeah,
she's in the Liga F. She scored 50.
I mean, she's on a goal a game in the WSL.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and Sarah Paraluelo looks like one of the best players in the world in the Liga F. Imagine how good Khadija Shaw would look. She'd score 50 goals. I'm convinced.
Yeah, because they've even got more teams.
Exactly.
Oh.
And those teams at the bottom, they would get beaten 12-0.
I kind of want to have an experiment. A 1 week loan. Khadija Shaw to Barcelona, just see how many she scores.
Ball down the line. And that's picked up well by Iman Bennett. One of the more recent substitutes came on in place of Kasperite. Down the line now for Hemp. Cuts it back. Here's Hasegawa. For Gino. Blinkilda Brown. Taking aim, blocked well. I guess that's the other thing to say on City's right-back situation. Hot chance now for City. Hemp. Trying to cut in. Takes aim now from range. Saved well by Clark. Is that it does look like they're going to put Bene as used as that right back because it is a very aggressive role, which means maybe they don't need a backup right back, but they will definitely need a striker because they'll need their wingers to stay fit to be able to play as wingers.
Exactly. If as you say, I think Bene is the solution there, but then that means you need to reinforce further forward.
Yeah. Phil says NWSL, she wants to be close to home and track as the superstar of the league. Yeah, but even then, I think they're more focused on their American players. Like, obviously, that'd be a huge move, but yeah, no, I don't see it happening yet, as you say. Maybe she looks at the high impact player rule and decides that she can get loads and loads of money. But I mean, that at the moment, that's still being disputed, isn't it?
It just sounds stupid, doesn't it?
Well, it is stupid.
The high impact player rule.
The fact that the acronym spells out HIP.
No one thought that through.
Exactly. There's Bene carrying it forwards, slips it in towards Harvey, who's just gone up front. She wants a goal. Clinton. Now, literally, her and Hemp were swapped.
Yeah.
Harvey just wants a goal. Hemp carries it forwards, delivers it in there. Chance for Shaw. Adds the 7th in this game and denied by the offside flag. And Khadija Shaw not happy about that one. Leicester breathe a sigh of relief, albeit a very short sigh of relief.
Yeah, it's a tight one. I'd like to have another look at it. It's another brilliant ball. Magical ball from Lauren Hemp. She has been phenomenal tonight. And Khadija Shaw does, just go too early. It's a great decision by the assistant referee on the far side. Shaw will be frustrated that she's only got one tonight. And for someone who's captain of an aerial fantasy, I share that frustration.
Well, I'm gutted Knack hasn't scored, but that is the full-time whistle here at the Joey Stadium. Manchester City 6, Leicester City 0. One side playing like the champions-elect, the other playing like a side who need to prepare for a relegation playoff at the end of this season. City in full control here. Absolutely dominant in this game, really flexing their muscles and putting themselves in a position now where they are 11 points clear in the WSL. Great start to the game week for City. Now they can sit back and watch the other teams and hope for some slip-ups.
Exactly that. Friday the 13th, unlucky for some, not for Manchester City.
Lucky for Leicester.
Very,
scary night for Leicester.
Terrible night for Leicester. A horror show for them. They'll look to bounce back in the coming weeks, but as you say, Man City in prime position, and with Chelsea with a tricky test against Liverpool, Arsenal away at Brighton as well, potential for some slip-ups there. So yeah, City in complete control of the league, and as I say, they are now only 3 wins away from wrapping up the title. Very, very impressive stuff, and another champions performance from the league leaders.
Absolutely. We're back with another double dose of WSL action this Sunday. Join us for that. Chelsea-Liverpool at 11:55 or 12 o'clock. I'm not 100% sure. It says 11:55 here.
11:55.
So it'll be 11:55. Harry will be 5 minutes. Harry won't be here.
I won't be here.
So that's why it is 12 now. Who knows? 12 o'clock this Sunday. Join us. Join me for Chelsea versus Liverpool. Harry will be back here though for the 2:30 kickoff as Brighton take on Arsenal. So looking forward to that double header. Outside of that, if you haven't already, check out the video from earlier today where we ran through every WSL club and looked at the players with contracts expiring in 2026. And look out, if you're not going to join us for any of that, look out for the show on Monday. We'll be back to round up the weekend, including this game and the 5 other WSL matches. That, though, is everything. Thanks, everyone that joined us on the stream. Phil says, cheers, lads. That was fun for about 5 minutes. And Delvin says, thanks for the commentary. Have a great evening. Have a great evening to you all, too. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.